Welcome home. The words echoed through the dead realm softly. Selena stopped breathing. Kale's arm tightened around her waist instantly. Protective. Possessive. Dangerous. The stranger stood beyond the ruined gate. Tall, black robes moving in the cold wind. Silver eyes glowing faintly in the darkness. Everything about him felt ancient. Wrong. Cashin looked exhausted beside them. I'm starting to hate people with silver eyes. Nobody answered him. The dead army still knelt across the ruined battlefield. Waiting. Watching Selena. The silence felt heavy now. Like the entire realm expected something from her. Kale slowly stepped in front of Selena, shielding her body with his own automatically. You know her. The stranger looked at Kale calmly. I know what she survived. Kale's shadows moved across the broken ground. Restless. Unstable after the war. Selena noticed immediately. He was exhausted. Bleeding. Still standing only because she was. The stranger's gaze shifted toward Selena again. And for one strange second, sadness crossed his face. The blood moon should have killed you. Cold spread through Selena's chest. It almost did. Kale looked back at her instantly. Pain flashed through his expression. Because he remembered. Her dying in his arms. Her heart stopping. The sound he made when he thought she was gone forever. Selena reached for his hand quietly. The second their fingers touched, his shadows calmed slightly. Only for her. The stranger noticed too. The bond grew stronger. Kale's jaw tightened. Stay away from us. The stranger ignored him. His silver eyes studied Selena carefully. Like he was searching for someone else beneath her skin. Then the ruined realms suddenly trembled beneath their feet. A deep roar echoed from beyond the broken gate. Far away. But getting closer. Fear spread across the battlefield instantly. Ares looked toward the darkness. The seal is weakening again. Cashin groaned softly. We literally just survived this. Selena felt the cold wind brush across her skin. And somewhere inside the darkness beyond the gate, something whispered her name. The dead realm never truly slept. Even after the battle, the air still felt haunted. Cold mist moved through broken ruins quietly. The dead army disappeared before sunrise. No footsteps. No sound. Just gone. That somehow felt worse. Selena stood near the ruined balcony, overlooking the black forest below. Exhaustion pulled at every part of her body. But sleep refused to come. Again, footsteps sounded softly behind her. She did not need to turn around. She already knew it was him. Kale stopped directly behind her. Close enough for warmth. Close enough to calm the storm inside her chest. You disappeared from bed again. His voice sounded rough from exhaustion. And something else. Fear. Selena looked down toward the dark forest. I could not sleep. Kale stayed silent for a moment. Then his arms slowly wrapped around her waist from behind. Gentle. Careful. Like she might break. His forehead rested against her shoulder quietly. Selena closed her eyes instantly. Gods. She missed this. Not war. Not power. Just him. Just this. I thought I lost you. Kale whispered. Pain hit her chest immediately. Because his voice sounded real this time. Not angry. Not cold. Terrified. Selena turned slowly in his arms. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. Blood still stained his shirt from the battle. He looked exhausted, destroyed, and still he stayed awake beside her, watching her, protecting her, always protecting her. Selena touched the cut near his jaw gently. You need rest. Kale leaned into her touch slightly. Only slightly. You stopped breathing in my arms. Her chest tightened painfully. The memory still lived inside both of them. Selena swallowed hard. But I came back. Kale looked at her for a long moment. then quietly whispered, "You always do." The tension between them shifted suddenly. Softer now. Warmer. Cale's hand slowly moved against her waist, his touch lingering longer this time. Needier. Selena felt her heartbeat stumble. He noticed immediately. A tiny smirk almost touched his mouth. Almost. Then distant screams echoed somewhere below the ruins. The moment shattered instantly. Cale's expression darkened. His shadows moved violently again. And somewhere deep in the black forest, something screamed her name. Nobody slept that night. The screams continued beneath the ruins until sunrise. Sometimes distant, sometimes too close. The stranger disappeared before morning, which somehow made everything worse. Cashan sat near the ruined fire looking miserable. "I miss normal kingdoms." Ares ignored him completely. He spent most of the night studying the cracked gate. Worried lines shadowed his face now. Selena noticed. Something was wrong. More wrong than before. Cale barely left her side. Every time she moved, his eyes followed instantly. Every sound made his shadows react. Like the war never ended inside him. Maybe it had not. Selena sat quietly near the broken stairs while Cale cleaned blood from his hands. The cuts across his knuckles looked deep. Too deep. "You should let me help." Cale looked up immediately. His expression softened slightly seeing her. Only her ever got that look. "I am fine." Selena almost smiled. "You say that a lot." Cale stepped closer slowly, then crouched in front of her. His dark eyes searched her face carefully, making sure she was truly there. Still breathing. Still alive. Selena gently took his injured hand anyway. The moment her fingers touched his skin, his breathing changed slightly. She cleaned the blood from his knuckles carefully. Softly. Cale watched her the entire time. Silent. Intense. Like he wanted to memorize every second. The air between them felt heavier lately. Not bad. Just deeper. Closer. The war changed something between them. Selena wrapped clean cloth around his hand slowly. Cale's other hand moved to her thigh without thinking. Warm. Possessive. His thumb brushed against her skin gently. Selena looked up at him instantly. Big mistake. The way he stared at her now felt dangerous. Hungry. Emotional. Like surviving, almost losing her, destroyed the last wall inside him. "You keep looking at me like that," Selena whispered softly. Cale's hand tightened slightly on her thigh. "Like what?" "Like you are afraid I will disappear." Silence. Real silence. Then Cale leaned closer slowly. Close enough that his breath touched her lips. "I am." The confession hit harder than any battle. And for one perfect second, Selena forgot the ruined kingdom. Forgot the blood moon. Forgot everything except him. Cale kissed her before she could think. Slow. Careful. Like he was still afraid she might disappear. Selena melted against him instantly. For one perfect moment, the ruined kingdom disappeared. No blood moon. No war. No whispers. Only him. Cale's hand moved against her waist slowly, holding her closer, like he physically needed to feel her breathing. Selena felt his heartbeat racing beneath her fingertips. Too fast. Too hard. He pulled back slightly, forehead resting against hers. Dark eyes searching her face again, always checking if she was truly here. "You scared me." His voice sounded rough now. Real. Broken. Selena swallowed hard. "I know." Cale closed his eyes briefly, like the memory still haunted him. Her dying in his arms. The silence after her heartbeat stopped. Selena touched his jaw gently. "You saved me too." Cale gave a weak laugh. Barely. The tension between them shifted again. Softer now. Warmer. Dangerously intimate. Kale's thumb brushed against her lower lip slowly. His gaze followed the movement instantly. Selena's breathing hitched. He noticed. Of course he noticed. Kale leaned closer again. This kiss felt different. Needier. Months of fear and grief living inside it. Selena's fingers slid into his dark hair softly. A quiet sound escaped him. Almost a groan. The sound sent heat through her entire body. Kale pressed her closer immediately. Possessive instinct taking over again. Like he could not get close enough. Then footsteps echoed nearby. Both of them froze instantly. Cashin appeared around the broken stairs. Then immediately stopped walking. Oh, so this is a bad time. Kale looked ready to murder him. Cashin raised both hands quickly. The creepy silver-eyed stranger is back. The peaceful moment shattered instantly. Kale's shadows moved again. Violent. Protective. And somewhere beyond the ruined walls, thunder shook the dead realm. The stranger waited near the ruined gate. Black robes moving in the cold wind. Silver eyes glowing faintly again. Selena instantly felt Kale tense beside her. His hand moved to her waist automatically. Possessive. Protective. Always touching her lately. The stranger noticed too, but said nothing. Eri stood near the broken seal looking exhausted. Dark circles shadowed his face now. The gate keeps reacting at night. Cashin sighed loudly. Wonderful. Exactly what everybody wanted. Nobody listened to him. Selena stepped closer to the ruined gate carefully. Cold air moved through the cracks. Whispers brushed against her mind softly. Waiting. Watching. Kale instantly grabbed her wrist. Do not go closer. Selena looked back at him. Fear lived openly inside his eyes now. Not hidden anymore. The war changed him too. She gently squeezed his hand. I am okay. Kale looked unconvinced. The stranger finally spoke again. The blood moon still calls to her. Kale's jaw tightened instantly. And she will ignore it. The stranger stayed calm. No one ignores the blood moon forever. Silence followed. Heavy silence. Selena felt exhaustion pulling at her body again. Stronger than before. Like something inside her constantly drained her energy. Kale noticed her expression immediately. His entire focus shifted back to her. You are pale. I am tired. You barely sleep. His voice softened slightly. Concern replacing anger instantly. Selena almost smiled. Kale touched her cheek carefully. Then leaned closer quietly. Come back inside. The way he said it sounded less like suggestion. More like pleading. And that somehow hurt worse. Rain started before midnight. Cold drops hit the ruined castle softly. Selena stood near the large window watching lightning spread across the black sky. Sleep still refused to come. Again, the bedroom behind her stayed quiet. Too quiet. Then warm hands slowly wrapped around her waist. Kale. He rested his forehead against the back of her neck silently. Neither of them spoke for a moment. The storm filled the silence instead. You left bed again, he whispered softly. Selena closed her eyes briefly. I did not want to wake you. Kale almost laughed. A tired, quiet sound. I barely sleep when you are beside me. Pain twisted inside her chest instantly. Because she understood what he meant. He still feared waking beside her dead body. Selena turned slowly in his arms. Kale looked exhausted tonight. His dark hair messy. Black shirt half open. Shadow marks still faintly visible across his throat. Gods, he looked beautiful. Dangerously beautiful. Kale noticed her staring immediately. One dark eyebrow lifted slightly. Selena felt heat rise to her face. That tiny almost smile appeared again. Rare, only for her. Kale gently brushed silver hair away from her face. You should rest. So should you. I will. Lie. Selena moved closer without thinking. her hands resting against his chest slowly. Strong heartbeat beneath her palms. Alive, still alive. Kale's breathing changed instantly. His hands tightened against her waist. The tension between them deepened again. Heavy now. Warm. Emotional. Selena looked up at him carefully. What if the gate breaks again? Kale's expression darkened immediately. Then I destroy everything that comes through it. And if it wants me? Kale's hand moved to the back of her neck slowly. Possessive fingers tangling in silver hair. His forehead touched hers gently. Then it fights me first. The storm outside cracked loudly. But Selena barely heard it, because Kale kissed her again. Slow, deep, like he was trying to forget fear itself. Morning arrived quietly. For the first time in weeks, Selena woke without nightmares. Warmth surrounded her immediately. Kale, his arms stayed tightly around her waist even in sleep. Like his body refused to let her go. Selena watched him silently. Dark hair falling across his forehead. Breathing finally calm. Peaceful. Rare. The sight softened something inside her chest instantly. Carefully, she brushed fingers through his hair. Kale woke immediately. War instincts. His eyes opened fast. Darkness flickered briefly around the room. Then he saw her. Everything softened. Instantly. Selena smiled sleepily. You almost attacked me. Kale pulled her closer against him instead. I considered it. His morning voice sounded deeper. Rougher. Selena felt heat spread through her body. Kale noticed immediately. Of course he noticed. That tiny smug expression returned again. Gods, she missed seeing him like this. Not king. Not monster. Just Kale. His hand slowly moved beneath her shirt. Warm fingers tracing circles against her skin lazily. Selena's breathing caught. Kale's eyes darkened instantly watching her reaction. You blushed too easily. You stared too much. A quiet laugh escaped him. Real this time. Soft. Selena forgot the ruined kingdom again. Forgot the gate. Forgot everything except the way he touched her. Carefully. Like she was something precious. Then loud knocking exploded outside the room. Both froze instantly. Cashin's voice echoed through the door. If you two are done staring dramatically at each other. The creepy stranger found another dead body. Kale closed his eyes slowly. Pure irritation crossed his face. Selena buried her face against his chest, laughing quietly. Kale looked down at her instantly. And for one brief second, the entire dark world felt almost normal again. The dead body waited near the lower ruins, covered with silver marks. Selena immediately felt cold spread through her chest. The symbols carved into the skin looked familiar. Too familiar. Kale stepped in front of her automatically, blocking most of the body from view. You do not need to see this. Selena gently touched his arm. I already did. Kale still looked unhappy. The stranger stood near the stone wall silently, watching everyone carefully. Cashin crouched beside the body looking disturbed for once. No weapons. No blood. So what killed him? Ares knelt beside the corpse slowly. His face darkened instantly. The mark. Selena frowned slightly. What mark? The stranger finally spoke. The blood moon curse. The cold air inside the ruins suddenly felt heavier. Kale's shadows moved restlessly across the floor. Protective instinct rising again. Cashin stood slowly. Can somebody explain things before more cursed people appear dead? The stranger looked towards Selena. Those touched by the blood moon eventually lose themselves. Silence followed instantly. Kale's expression turned dangerous. Watch your next words carefully. The stranger did not react. But Selena noticed something strange. Pity. He looked at her with pity. And somehow, that frightened her more than the body. A loud crack echoed from outside. Thunder rolled across the dead realm again. The strangers slowly stepped toward the ruined exit. We leave before nightfall. Kale crossed his arms immediately. We are not following you blindly. The stranger paused near the doorway, then quietly said, "If you stay here, the hunters will find her first." The room went silent. Selena looked up sharply. "Hunters," Ares cursed under his breath. Cashin looked exhausted already. "Oh, good. Now people are hunting us too." The journey started before sunset. Dark horses moved through ruined paths silently. Cold fog covered the dead realm again. Selena rode beside Kale, like always now. His hand stayed firmly against her thigh while holding the reins, grounding himself through touch. Every few minutes, his eyes shifted toward her again, checking, always checking. Selena finally looked up at him. "You know I am alive." Kale's jaw tightened slightly. Barely. Pain hit her chest instantly. The memory still haunted him. She could feel it through the bond. Every second. Kale noticed her expression immediately. His thumb brushed slowly against her leg. Soft apology. The stranger rode ahead silently. Cashin leaned closer towards Selena from his horse. "So, how long before Dark Prince murders Silver Eyes?" Kale heard him instantly. "I heard that." Cashin grinned slightly. That was intentional. For one brief second, Selena almost laughed. Gods, she missed normal moments. The ruined path slowly narrowed into black forest cliffs. Everything looked dead here. Ancient stone towers broken beneath vines. Destroyed statues hidden in mist. The stranger suddenly stopped his horse. Everyone froze instantly. Kale's shadows moved at once. Ready. Dangerous. Then Selena heard it. Footsteps. Soft, surrounding them from the cliffs above. A low whistle echoed through the fog. Cashin sighed heavily. "I knew this peaceful ride was suspicious." Silver arrows suddenly appeared from the darkness, pointed directly at Selena. Everything happened instantly. Kale pulled Selena off the horse before the arrows flew. Shadows exploded across the cliffs violently. Black smoke swallowed the road. Voices shouted from above. Hunters. Dozens of them. Silver cloaks moved through the fog. Masks covered their faces. One hunter pointed directly towards Selena. "The Blood Queen lives." Fear spread through the ruined road instantly. Kale stepped in front of Selena slowly. Deadly calm. The kind that came before violence. Cashin pulled his sword with a tired sigh. "I miss one peaceful day." The first arrow flew. Kale caught it midair. Darkness crushed the silver arrow into dust instantly. Then chaos erupted. Hunters rushed from the cliffs. Silver blades flashing through fog. Kale attacked first. Brutal. Fast. His shadows ripped through enemies like living monsters. Selena barely saw him move. One hunter reached her. A knife flashed toward her throat. The stranger killed him instantly. Silver fire burned through the hunter's chest. Selena stared briefly. That power again. Too familiar. Ares fought beside Cashin near the broken road. The entire forest echoed with steel and screams. Kale suddenly appeared beside Selena again. Blood covered his hands. Not his blood. "You stay near me." His voice sounded darker during fights now. More dangerous. Selena grabbed his arm quickly. "You are hurt." A cut bled across his shoulder. Kale barely glanced at it. His eyes searched the forest instead. Still hunting threats. Still protecting her first. Then a hunter removed his mask slowly. Silver eyes. Ancient marks across his face. He looked directly at Selena, then whispered softly, "The queen has returned at last." The hunter dropped to one knee before Selena, even with Kale's shadows wrapped around his throat. The forest fell strangely silent. Rain started falling softly through the black trees. Kale looked ready to kill him anyway. "Talk carefully." The hunter barely reacted. His silver eyes stayed fixed on Selena. The first kingdom waits for its queen. Cashin looked exhausted. Why does everybody keep saying that? The stranger slowly stepped closer, watching the hunter carefully now, like he recognized him. The hunter noticed too, then slowly lowered his head deeper. My prince. Silence. Ares immediately looked toward the stranger. Cashin blinked twice. Oh, that seems important. Kale's expression darkened instantly. His arm moved tighter around Selena protectively. The stranger ignored everyone. His silver eyes remained on the kneeling hunter. Who sent you? The Northern Kingdom. Fear crossed Ares's face. They found her already. Selena frowned slightly. Found me for what? Nobody answered immediately. Kale finally looked down at her, his jaw tight. To kill you before the blood moon rises again. Cold spread through Selena's chest instantly. The hunter slowly lifted his head. Every kingdom fears what you become. Pain twisted inside her. Not queen. Not savior. Monster. Kale felt the shift in her instantly through the bond. His hand gently touched the back of her neck, grounding her again. They fear what they do not understand. The hunter looked directly at Kale. No, they fear what she already survived. The rain suddenly grew heavier around them. And somewhere far beyond the cliffs, war horns echoed through the fog. They stopped for the night inside abandoned ruins. Broken stone walls shielded them from the storm outside. Nobody trusted sleep anymore. Not after the war. Not after the hunters. Selena sat quietly near the fire, wrapped in Kale's dark cloak. The warmth still smelled like him. Smoke, night air, shadow magic. Safe. Kale stood near the ruined entrance watching the storm outside silently. His shadows moved across the floor restlessly. Still alert. Still hunting danger. Always. Selena noticed the blood staining his shoulder again. The cut looked worse now. Without a word, she stood and walked toward him. Kale instantly turned. His entire expression softened seeing her. Only for her. Selena gently touched the torn fabric near his shoulder. You need stitches. Kale barely looked at the wound. It will heal. You said that yesterday. A tiny, almost smile touched his mouth, then disappeared. Selena carefully pushed his shirt aside anyway. A cut across his shoulder looked deep. Her chest tightened instantly. Kale watched her silently while she cleaned blood from his skin. The storm outside faded into background noise. Only the two of them existed now. Only quiet touches. Slow breathing. Warm hands. Selena wrapped clean cloth around his shoulder carefully. Kale's fingers slowly slid beneath her chin, tilting her face upward gently. Dark eyes locked onto hers. Too intense. Too emotional. Selena's heartbeat stumbled instantly. You always take care of everyone except yourself, he whispered softly. The way he looked at her nearly destroyed her, like she was the only thing keeping him alive. Selena leaned closer without thinking. Kale met her halfway instantly. The kiss felt slow at first, then desperate. Months of fear living inside it again. His hands moved against her waist firmly, pulling her closer, like he physically needed her heartbeat against his chest. Selena's fingers tangled into his hair softly. A quiet sound escaped Kale instantly. Low. Dangerous. The firelight flickered across his dark eyes. And for one reckless second, Selena wanted to forget the entire world with him. Selena woke tangled in Kale's arms. Rain still hit the ruined walls softly outside. The fire burned low beside them. Everything felt warm. Quiet. Safe. Rare. Kale's arms stayed tightly around her waist even in sleep, like his body refused to let her go. Selena carefully studied him in the dim firelight. The sharp line of his jaw. Dark hair falling over closed eyes. the faint shadow mark still visible near his throat. Beautiful. Dangerous. Hers. The thought sent warmth through her chest instantly. Like the bond reacted to it. Kale stirred slightly, then slowly opened his eyes. The second he saw her watching him, his expression softened completely. There you are. Selena smiled sleepily. I was sleeping beside you. Kale gently brushed fingers along her cheek. I know. His voice still sounded rough from sleep. Gods, that voice would ruin her someday. Selena buried her face briefly against his chest. Warm skin beneath her fingertips. Strong heartbeat. Alive. Kale held her tighter instantly. Like even now he feared she would disappear. The quiet moment stretched softly between them. No war. No blood moon. Just breathing. Just warmth. Then Selena noticed it. Kale was staring at her again. Too intensely. What? His thumb slowly brushed against her waist beneath the blanket. You look alive again. Pain hit her chest unexpectedly. Because he sounded relieved. Like happiness itself still surprised him now. Selena lifted her hand slowly to his face. You do too. Kale closed his eyes briefly beneath her touch. Then pressed a kiss against her palm softly. The tenderness nearly broke her. Outside, thunder rolled across the ruined world again. But inside Kale's arms, Selena almost forgot to be afraid. The peace never lasted long. By morning, the storm was gone. But smoke rose from the cliffs ahead. Too much smoke. The group moved carefully through ruined paths. Kale rode beside Selena again. One hand always touching her somehow. Her waist. Her thigh. Her hand. Like distance physically hurt him now. Selena noticed. But she did not mind. Not even slightly. The ruined village appeared through thick fog slowly. Burned houses. Broken carts. Blood across the stone road. Silence. Cashin swore quietly. What happened here? Ares crouched near one burned wall. His expression darkened instantly. Hunters. Selena felt cold spread through her chest. Families lived here once. Children. Normal people. Now only smoke remained. Kale immediately noticed her expression. His hand moved against her back gently. Grounding her again. Always grounding her. Then Selena saw the symbol burned into the center of the village square. A silver moon. Marked with blood. The same symbol from the dead body before. The blood moon hunters. The stranger studied the symbol silently. Then finally spoke. The kingdom's already started preparing for war. Cashin looked exhausted. Against one girl. The stranger slowly looked toward Selena. Not a girl anymore. Silence followed instantly. Kale's shadows darkened violently. Selena looked away first. Because part of her feared he might be right. A small sound suddenly echoed nearby. Weak. Human. Everyone turned instantly. A little boy hid beneath broken wood beside a burned house. Terrified silver eyes stared directly at Selena. Kale slowly moved in front of her automatically. The child pointed toward Selena with shaking hands. Then whispered softly, the monsters were looking for the Silver Queen. The little boy refused to look away from Selena. Fear filled his silver eyes. Real fear. Selena slowly stepped around Kale before he could stop her. The child immediately flinched backward. Pain twisted inside her chest instantly. Kale noticed. Of course he noticed. His hand gently touched her lower back. Support. Comfort. Silent reminder he was there. Selena crouched slowly near the boy. I'm not going to hurt you. The child stared at her silver hair silently. Then at the shadow marks faintly moving across Kale's hands. The monsters asked where you were. Cold spread through the ruined village again. Cashin looked around uneasily. How many monsters exactly? The boy swallowed hard. A lot. Ares cursed quietly. The stranger's expression darkened. They moved faster than expected. Kale's jaw tightened instantly. We keep moving. The boy suddenly grabbed Selena's sleeve weakly. They killed everyone. The words shattered something inside her. Selena looked around the destroyed village again. Burned homes. Smoke. Blood. Because of her. Because the blood moon returned. Kale instantly felt the guilt through the bond. He crouched beside her immediately. His hand gently framed her face. This is not your fault. Selena looked at him shakily. They came for me, and I would burn every kingdom before letting them touch you. His voice sounded calm saying it. Too calm. Like he already accepted becoming a monster for her. The terrifying part was, Selena believed him completely. The little boy stared between them silently. Then softly asked, Are you really the Blood Queen? Silence hit the ruined village. Kale looked murderous already. But Selena slowly answered anyway. I do not know anymore. Far above the cliffs, war horns echoed again. Closer this time. They left the ruined village before nightfall. The little boy rode with Cashanmao. Silent. Still terrified. The farther they traveled, the heavier the air became. Even the forest looked darker tonight. Selena leaned slightly against Kale during the ride. Exhaustion kept pulling at her body again. Stronger lately. Kale noticed instantly. His hand tightened around her waist. You are tired. I am fine. Lie. Kale knew it too. He slowed the horse carefully. Then leaned closer near her ear. We stop soon. The low sound of his voice sent warmth through her chest instantly. Gods, even now he affected her too easily. Night finally arrived near old ruins hidden between cliffs. The group settled quietly. Nobody spoke much anymore. Fear followed them everywhere now. Selena stood near the edge of the broken cliff watching moonlight touch the forest below. Cold wind moved through silver hair softly. Footsteps approached behind her. Kale, always Kale. He stopped directly behind her. Close enough for warmth again. You disappeared. Selena smiled faintly. You found me. Kale's arms slowly wrapped around her waist from behind. Possessive instinct. Comfort. Need. All mixed together now. He buried his face briefly against her neck, breathing her in slowly. Selena closed her eyes instantly. The touch felt too intimate, too dangerous. Kale's hands tightened slightly against her waist. You scared me today. The village. The way you looked at yourself after. Pain hit her chest quietly. Selena whispered softly, What if they are right about me? Kale immediately turned her around in his arms. Dark eyes locked onto hers fiercely. Then they are fools. Selena swallowed hard. You do not fear what I could become. Kale leaned closer slowly, his forehead touching hers gently. No. His voice dropped lower. More dangerous. I fear what the world will force me to become protecting you. The confession stole her breath completely. And then Kale kissed her like he already belonged to her forever. Kale kissed her slowly at first, like he wanted to memorize every second. Cold wind moved through the ruined cliffs around them. But Selena barely felt it anymore. Only him. Only the warmth of his hands against her waist. Kale pulled her closer carefully, like he still feared she might disappear if he let go. Selena's fingers slid into his dark hair softly. A quiet sound escaped him instantly. Low. Dangerous. The sound sent heat through her entire body. Kale deepened the kiss slowly. Months of fear and grief hidden inside it. Selena felt the bond pulse warmly between them. Alive. Steady. Safe. Kale finally pulled back slightly, breathing unevenly now. Dark eyes searching her face again. Always checking. Always making sure she was still here. Selena touched the scar near his throat gently. You look at me like I already died. Pain flashed through his expression instantly, because part of him still lived in that moment. holding her lifeless body beneath the blood moon. Kale pressed his forehead against hers quietly. I do not know how to stop. The honesty in his voice nearly broke her. Selena wrapped both arms around him tightly. Kale instantly buried his face against her neck, like this was the only place he could breathe. The softness of the moment hurt somehow, because neither of them trusted peace anymore. Then footsteps echoed nearby. Cashin appeared carrying firewood, then immediately stopped walking. Again. Oh, come on. Do you two ever separate? Kale slowly looked at him, completely unimpressed. Cashin raised one eyebrow. You look murderous. So I assume I interrupted something emotional. Selena laughed quietly despite herself. The sound made Kale instantly look back at her, softening immediately. Gods, Cashin noticed too. And for once, he stayed silent about it. The fire burned low long after midnight. Most of the camp finally slept. Cashin snored near broken stone pillars. Ari stayed awake studying old maps beside the ruins. The stranger sat alone near the edge of the cliff, silent as always. Selena watched the dark forest quietly. Sleep still refused to come. Too many thoughts. Too many whispers inside her head lately. She barely noticed Kale approaching beside her. Only the warmth gave him away. He sat close enough that their knees touched immediately. You should rest. Selena smiled faintly. So should you. Kale looked toward the forest below silently. His shadows moved slower tonight. Calmer. Like being beside her soothed something violent inside him. Selena studied him carefully in the firelight. The sharp line of his jaw. Dark hair falling across tired eyes. The faint cut still healing near his shoulder. Beautiful. Dangerous. Completely exhausted. Kale noticed her staring again. You keep doing that. What? Looking at me like I survived something impossible. Pain crossed Selena's face softly. You did. Silence settled between them. Heavy. Emotional. Kale finally looked toward her slowly. Dark eyes softer than usual tonight. I almost lost my mind when you died. The confession hit harder than expected. Because Kale never admitted weakness. Never. Selena reached for his hand quietly. Their fingers intertwined instantly. Natural now. Like the bond demanded it. Kale's thumb brushed against her skin slowly. You came back, he whispered. But you still fear it. Kale stayed silent too long. That was answer enough. Selena moved closer without thinking, resting her head against his shoulder softly. Kale immediately leaned into her. His lips brushed against her hair gently. And for the first time in weeks, neither of them spoke about war. Morning came with fog. Thick silver mist covered the cliffs and ruined roads below. The camp packed quietly. Everyone felt the tension growing now. Even the horses reacted nervously. Selena stood near the broken wall, fixing the straps around her cloak. Kale appeared behind her silently. As usual, his hand slowly replaced hers, fixing the straps for her instead. Selena watched him carefully. You do realize I can do this myself. Kale barely looked up. I know, but he still finished adjusting everything anyway. Possessive habit. Protective habit. Kale habit. Selena smiled faintly. The sight seemed to calm him instantly. Gods, he looked at her smile like it healed wounds. The stranger approached through the fog slowly. Dark robes moving in cold wind. Kale's expression immediately hardened again. The warmth vanished instantly. We leave now, the stranger said quietly. Cashin groaned. We have been leaving for 3 days. Nobody listened. The group moved deeper through ruined mountain paths. The farther they traveled, the stranger the world became. Old statues lined the cliffs now. Every statue looked the same. A silver-haired queen crowned beneath a dark moon. Selena felt uneasy every time she looked at them. like the stone eyes followed her. Kale noticed her discomfort instantly. His hand rested against her lower back gently while walking. Grounding touch. Silent comfort. Then Selena stopped suddenly. One statue near the cliff looked different. The face. The eyes. The crown. The statue looked exactly like her. Cold fear spread through the mountain path. Cashin slowly looked between Selena and the statue. Then quietly whispered, "That is not terrifying at all." Nobody spoke for several seconds. The statue towered above the ruined path. Silver crown. Cold eyes. Stone hands stained dark from centuries of rain. Selena could not stop staring at it. It looked too real. Too familiar. Kale immediately stepped in front of her, blocking the statue from view. His shadows moved sharply around the cliffs. Protective instinct again. Always. Cashin pointed toward the crown carefully. So either history is repeating itself, or we are all cursed. Ares studied the ancient symbols carved beneath the statue. His face slowly darkened. "It says she sealed the blood moon alone." Cold spread through Selena's chest instantly. The stranger finally stepped closer to the statue. For the first time since meeting him, real emotion crossed his face. Grief. Selena noticed immediately. "You knew her." The stranger stayed silent too long. Then quietly answered, "Yes." Kale instantly looked dangerous again. "You still have not explained who you are." The stranger's silver eyes shifted toward Kale calmly. "And you still do not trust me?" "I do not trust anyone who looks at her like a ghost." Silence hit the mountain path. Selena looked away first. Because Kale was right. The stranger did look at her strangely. Not like Selena. Like someone he already lost once. The cold wind suddenly shifted around the cliffs. Then whispers echoed softly through the fog. Selena froze instantly. The voices sounded familiar now. Not cruel. Not violent. Sad. The statue's silver eyes suddenly began glowing faintly. Cashin stepped backward immediately. "No, absolutely not." The whispers grew louder around Selena. And somewhere deep inside her mind, a woman's voice softly whispered, "Find me." The first kingdom waited beneath the mountains. Ancient black towers rose into silver fog. Broken bridges stretched across deep cliffs. Ruined castles hidden beneath vines and shadow. The entire kingdom looked asleep. Not dead. Waiting. Selena stopped walking without realizing it. Her heartbeat suddenly felt too loud. Too fast. Kale immediately noticed. His hand rested against her lower back gently. "You okay?" Selena stared at the kingdom silently. "I know this place." Nobody moved. Even Cashin stayed quiet. The stranger slowly looked toward her. "Memory." The word echoed strangely in the cold air. Selena stepped closer to the ruined bridge carefully. Then another image slammed into her mind. Silver fire. Screaming soldiers. A dark throne room covered in blood. Kale standing beside her, beneath a black crown. The vision vanished instantly. Selena stumbled backward sharply. Kale caught her before she fell. Fear crossed his face immediately. What did you see? Selena grabbed his shirt tightly, breathing unevenly now. You were there. Silence crushed the ruined bridge. Cale stared at her, confused. Then something dark flickered through his expression, like a memory trying to surface. The stranger watched both of them carefully. The bond remembers faster here. Ares looked disturbed. That should not be possible. Cale still held Selena tightly, his thumb brushing slowly against her waist. Grounding. Always grounding. Then distant bells echoed through the First Kingdom. Low, ancient, warning bells. Cassian slowly looked toward the dark towers. I really do not like that sound. Figures suddenly appeared across the bridges ahead. Dozens of them. Watching Selena. The figures stood motionless across the bridges. Silver cloaks moving in cold wind. Masks covering their faces. Selena instantly felt Cale shift closer beside her. His shadows spread protectively around both of them. Dangerous. Ready. The stranger stepped forward slowly. One masked figure lowered their hood first. A woman. Silver eyes. Ancient marks glowing across pale skin. Then every figure around her dropped to one knee. The entire bridge fell silent. Selena froze. The woman lowered her head deeply. My queen. Cale looked ready to start a war immediately. Stop calling her that. The woman finally looked toward him calmly. The Shadow King still guards her. Cale's jaw tightened instantly. Cassian sighed softly. Everybody apparently knows both of you except you. Selena stepped forward slightly, ignoring the nervous pull in her chest. Who are you? The woman placed one hand over her heart. We are the Keepers. Ares looked genuinely alarmed now. I thought your order died centuries ago. The woman's gaze shifted towards Selena again. We waited. The way she said it sent chills through the ruined bridge. Like this moment had been expected for generations. Cale moved closer to Selena instantly, almost touching her now. Possessive instinct growing worse every chapter. Selena noticed. But honestly, it made her feel safer. The woman slowly removed the silver mask fully. Scarred skin crossed one side of her face. Old battle scars. Old wool scars. You carry the same eyes as the last queen. Selena's chest tightened instantly. Last queen. Not first. Not ancient. Her. The bells suddenly rang louder across the kingdom. The woman's expression darkened immediately. Then she whispered, They know you returned. The gates of the First Kingdom opened slowly. Ancient black metal groaned through the fog. The sound echoed across every ruined tower. Selena felt uneasy instantly, like the kingdom itself had awakened. The keepers surrounded them silently, not threatening, protective. Their silver eyes kept shifting towards Selena, watching her too carefully. Cale hated it immediately. His hand stayed firmly against her waist while they walked through the gates. Possessive. Grounding. The First Kingdom looked frozen in time. Silver banners still hung from broken towers. Ancient statues lined the empty streets. Every statue looked toward the dark palace above the city. Waiting. Cassian stared around uneasily. This place feels haunted, one keeper quietly answered. It is. That somehow made everything worse. Selena walked slowly beside Cale. The deeper they entered the kingdom, the stranger her chest felt. Like memories weighted beneath every stone. Cale noticed her discomfort instantly. His thumb brushed softly against her waist. You are breathing too fast. Selena looked up at him weakly. I feel like I already lived here. Cale's expression shifted slightly. Something emotional flashed through his eyes, then disappeared. The stranger walked ahead silently beside the keepers, still refusing to explain who he truly was. Cassian finally pointed at him dramatically. I am naming you Silver Eyes until further notice. For the first time, a tiny smile touched the stranger's mouth. barely visible. Kale looked even more suspicious because of it. The palace doors finally appeared ahead. Massive, black stone covered in silver symbols. The moment Selena saw them, pain exploded through her head instantly. A memory. Blood on palace stairs. Kale screaming her name. A silver crown falling from her head. Selena gasped sharply. Kale caught her immediately. Fear filled his face. Selena. The palace doors slowly opened by themselves, and warm candlelight spilled into the ruined kingdom. The palace felt alive. Candles lit themselves as they entered. Silver flames moved across ancient walls softly. Everything looked untouched, like someone still lived here. Selena stayed close beside Kale. The headache slowly faded, but the memories did not. Every hallway felt familiar. Every staircase. Every shadow. Kale noticed her staring around silently. His hand gently slipped into hers. Grounding touch. Selena instantly held tighter. The bond between them pulsed warmly. Safe. Real. The keepers led them into a massive hall lined with old portraits. Kings. Queens. Warriors. Selena stopped walking instantly. One portrait hung larger than the others. A silver-haired queen wearing black armor beneath a blood moon. Kale stood beside her in the painting. Dark crown. Black shadows wrapping around him. Selena stopped breathing. Cashin slowly looked between the painting and them, then quietly whispered, "Oh, you have got to be kidding me." Silence crushed the hall. Kale stared at the portrait like someone punched the air from his lungs. Because it looked exactly like them. Not similar. Exactly. Selena stepped closer shakily. The painted version of Kale looked at her the same way he still did now. Like she was everything. Her chest hurt suddenly. A memory flickered again. Kale kneeling before her throne covered in blood. Swearing loyalty beneath the blood moon. The vision disappeared instantly. Selena stumbled slightly. Kale grabbed her hand tighter. His breathing uneven now too. The stranger finally stepped beside the portrait quietly. Then softly said, "You once ruled this kingdom together." Nobody spoke. Because suddenly, everything made terrifying sense. The silence inside the portrait hall felt unbearable. Selena could not stop staring at the painting. Her, Kale, the crowns, the blood moon above them. Impossible. Cashin looked deeply disturbed. "So, you are telling me this entire situation is somehow worse than we thought?" Nobody answered him. Kale slowly stepped closer to the portrait. His shadows moved restlessly around the floor. Unstable again. Selena noticed immediately. He looked shaken. Really shaken. The stranger watched them quietly, like he expected this reaction. Selena finally forced herself to speak. "We ruled together." The stranger nodded once. "Before the kingdom fell." Ares looked pale now. The old stories were true. Kale still stared at the portrait silently. Then quietly asked, "How did we die?" The question echoed through the hall heavily. The stranger's expression darkened. Selena suddenly felt cold. Like part of her already feared the answer. The stranger looked toward the painted blood moon above the throne. Then slowly answered, "You sacrificed yourselves sealing the darkness." Silence. Pain hit Selena's chest instantly. Because somewhere deep inside, she remembered pieces of it. Fire, blood, Kale holding her while the world collapsed around them. The bond between her and Kale pulsed painfully. Emotional. Heavy. Kale finally looked toward her slowly. Dark eyes softer than ever now. Like he understood something terrifying. "You died with me." Selena swallowed hard. "And you came back for me anyway." The confession in her voice nearly broke him. Kale crossed the distance between them instantly. His hand gently framed her face. Thumb brushing softly against her cheek. Every time, the tenderness in his voice shattered something inside her. and for one dangerous second, Selena wanted to forget the war completely and stay in his arms forever. The palace gave them rooms near the highest tower. Ancient black walls, silver candles, massive windows overlooking the ruined kingdom below. Everything still felt unreal. Selena stood near the balcony watching fog move through empty streets. The portrait halls still haunted her. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw them. Her and Kale beneath the blood moon, ruling together, dying together. The balcony doors opened quietly behind her. Kale, she felt him before hearing him now. The bond pulsed warmly the closer he came. Kale stopped directly behind her. Close enough for warmth again. Always close. Neither of them spoke at first. The kingdom below stayed silent. Haunted. Beautiful. Then Kale quietly asked, "Do you remember more?" Selena looked down toward the empty streets. Pieces. Kale moved closer slowly. His hand rested against her waist carefully, like he was afraid to touch too hard. "What pieces?" Selena swallowed hard. "You kneeling beside my throne." The words made him go still behind her. "I remember how you looked at me." Kale's breathing changed slightly. Selena turned slowly in his arms. Dark eyes already watching her too intensely again. Always too intensely. "How did I look?" Selena's heartbeat stumbled. "Like you would destroy the world for me." Silence. Real silence. Then Kale gently touched her face, his thumb brushing along her cheek slowly. "I still would." The confession hit harder than it should have, because he meant it completely. Selena stepped closer without thinking. Kale instantly wrapped both arms around her waist, pulling her against his chest firmly, like he needed her there, needed proof she was real. The tension between them deepened again. Heavy, dangerous, emotional. Kale leaned down slowly, his lips brushing softly against hers. Gentle at first, then needier. Months of fear living inside every touch. Selena melted against him instantly. One of Kale's hands slid into her silver hair, tilting her head slightly, deepening the kiss again. The sound that escaped him nearly ruined her completely. Low, possessive, like he already belonged to her in every lifetime. Maybe he did. Selena woke before sunrise. For one peaceful second, she forgot where they were. Warm arms wrapped tightly around her waist. Strong heartbeat beneath her cheek. Kale. Then memory returned. The first kingdom. The portraits. The past lives. The blood moon. Selena slowly looked up at him. Kale still slept beside her, dark hair falling across closed eyes. One arm still holding her possessively even asleep, like his body refused to let her leave. The sight softened her chest instantly. Gods, she loved him so much it almost hurt. Carefully, Selena brushed fingers along his jaw. Kale woke immediately. War instincts again. His eyes opened fast. Darkness flickered briefly around the room. Then he saw her. Everything softened instantly. "There you are." Selena smiled faintly. "You say that every time you wake up." Kale gently pulled her closer against him, his voice still rough from sleep. "I like finding you alive." Pain quietly touched the moment. Still there beneath everything. Selena rested her forehead against his chest softly. Kale's hand slowly moved through her silver hair, calming himself through touch again. "You barely slept," Selena whispered. Kale stayed silent for a moment, then quietly admitted, "I kept checking if you were breathing." Her chest shattered hearing it, because he sounded ashamed of it. Selena lifted herself slightly, hands framing his face carefully. "You do not have to fear me disappearing every second." Kale looked at her for a long time, then softly whispered, "But I do." The honesty in his voice nearly destroyed her. Selena kissed him before he could look away. Slow, warm, emotional. Kale immediately deepened it, like he had been starving for her all night. His hand tightened against her waist possessively, pulling her fully against him. The morning light slowly spilled across the dark room, and for a little while, the war felt far away again. The illusion of peace ended by noon. A keeper arrived outside the tower doors, breathing hard, fear visible across scarred features. The northern armies crossed the border. Silence hit the room instantly. Kale slowly stood from the bed. Every soft emotion vanished from his face immediately. Dark King again. Dangerous again. Selena watched the shift happen in real time. It still amazed her. 1 second warm hands and sleepy kisses. The next, pure violence waiting beneath his skin. Ares entered moments later with Cashin behind him. Both looked tense. The kingdoms are moving faster than expected, Ares said quietly. Cashin crossed his arms. Apparently everyone wants the Silver Queen dead before another apocalypse starts. Selena looked away first. The words still hurt every time. Kale noticed instantly. His hand found hers without thinking. Grounding touch. Always. The stranger entered last. Silver eyes unreadable as usual. The hunters spread fear through every kingdom. Kale looked unimpressed. I will spread worse if they come near her. Cashin sighed softly. And there he is. The stranger ignored him completely. His attention shifted toward Selena instead. The first kingdom can hide you only temporarily. Selena frowned slightly. You keep speaking like war is already here. The stranger looked toward the dark mountains outside the tower windows, then quietly answered, It is, as if the world wanted to prove him right. War horns suddenly echoed across the kingdom below. Loud, ancient, warning horns. Every keeper inside the palace froze instantly. Kale's shadows exploded across the room violently, protective instinct taking over immediately. Then one terrified voice echoed through the halls outside. The hunters found the kingdom. The palace erupted into chaos. Keeper voices echoed through every hallway. War horns continued screaming across the kingdom below. Selena felt Kale move closer instantly, one arm wrapping tightly around her waist. Protective instinct again. Always. Cashin looked exhausted already. We stayed hidden for what? 5 minutes. Ares moved toward the tower doors quickly. The barriers should have protected us. The stranger's expression darkened slightly. They were helped. Silence. Betrayal. The word hung unspoken between them. Kale's shadows twisted violently across the floor. Dangerous. Unstable. Selena felt the rage moving through the bond instantly. Cold, sharp, deadly calm. A keeper suddenly rushed into the room. Blood covered one side of his armor. The outer gates are under attack. Kale immediately stepped in front of Selena. Every soft emotion vanished completely now. Dark King. Shadow King. War King. Get her somewhere safe. Selena grabbed his arm instantly. I am not hiding. Kale looked down at her sharply. Fear and anger mixed together in his eyes. You nearly died saving the world weeks ago, and you nearly died saving me. Silence hit hard between them. Kale's jaw tightened painfully, because neither of them recovered from that. Not really. The stranger stepped toward the balcony slowly. Silver eyes watching smoke rise below the kingdom. They are not here only for her. Ares frowned. What else would they want? The stranger looked toward the dark palace beneath the mountains, then quietly answered, The throne. Cold spread through Selena's chest instantly. The throne. Again, everything always returned to it. Kale immediately noticed her fear. His hand gently touched the back of her neck, grounding her, pulling her back toward him. Then explosions shook the kingdom walls below. Screams echoed through the towers. And the war finally reached the first kingdom. Smoke covered the kingdom streets below. Selena, stood near the tower balcony watching silver fire spread through the outer walls. The hunters had already breached the first gate. Too fast. Too organized. Kale stood behind her, silently fastening dark armor across his chest. The sound of metal echoed softly through the room. Selena turned toward him slowly. Gods! He looked terrifying. Black armor. Shadow marks across his throat. Dark eyes colder than usual now. The king who destroyed armies. Kale noticed her staring immediately. His expression softened slightly. Only slightly. You should stay inside the upper palace. Selena crossed her arms instantly. No. Kale walked toward her slowly. One gloved hand resting against her waist. Possessive touch. Comforting touch. I cannot focus if I think you are in danger. Pain hit her chest quietly. Because he sounded honest. Not controlling. Terrified. Selena touched the armor near his chest carefully. You cannot protect me from everything. Kale leaned closer slowly. His forehead touching hers gently. I can try. The tenderness nearly destroyed her. Outside. Another explosion shook the kingdom. Screams echoed through distant streets. Reality crashing back again. Kale closed his eyes briefly. Like he hated leaving her even for war. Selena gently brushed fingers across his jaw. You always come back to me. Kale looked at her for one long moment. Then quietly whispered, every lifetime. The words shattered through her chest. Kale kissed her once. Slow, deep, desperate. Then pulled away before either of them could stop him. The moment he reached for tower doors, Selena felt the bond shift painfully. Distance. Fear. Violence waiting ahead. Kale looked back one final time, and then disappeared into the war below. The tower felt empty without him. Too quiet. Too cold. Selena paced near the balcony while battle sounds echoed below the kingdom. Every scream tightened something painful inside her chest. The bond made everything worse. She could feel pieces of Kale through it. His rage. His focus. His violence. Every time shadows exploded through the battlefield, she felt it. Cashin entered the tower room carrying 2 swords. One already covered in blood. You look exactly like he does when you disappear. Selena stopped pacing instantly. Fear crossed her face. What does that mean? Cashin leaned against the doorway tiredly. Like somebody ripped his soul halfway out. Pain hit harder than expected. Because deep down, she already knew that. Cashin studied her carefully for a moment. Then sighed softly. He loves you in a really unhealthy way. Despite everything, Selena almost laughed weakly. I know. Another explosion shook the palace below. Cashin immediately looked serious again. The hunters brought blood moon weapons. Cold spread through the tower room. Selena frowned slightly. What does that mean? Cashin hesitated too long. That terrified her instantly. It means the weapons were made to kill people like you. Silence. The words echoed painfully inside her chest. Monster. Queen. Threat. Never just Selena anymore. Cashin noticed the shift in her expression immediately. He softened slightly. For what it is worth, Kale would probably destroy the world before letting them near you. Selena looked toward the burning kingdom below quietly. I know. That was the terrifying part. Because Kale truly would. The bond suddenly pulsed sharply. Pain exploded through her chest instantly. Selena gasped. Cashin moved toward her immediately. What happened? Selena grabbed the balcony railing tightly. Fear crushing her lungs now. Because through the bond, she felt Kale bleeding. Selena could barely breathe. Pain ripped through the bond violently. Kale. Something happened to Kale. Cashin grabbed her shoulders instantly. Talk to me. Selena pressed one shaking hand against her chest. Blood. Fear. Darkness exploding through the bond. She felt all of it. He is hurt. Cashin cursed immediately. Then the tower doors slammed open. Ares entered breathing hard. The inner wall fell. Selena looked up sharply. Where is Kale? Ares hesitated. Too long. Fear turned ice-cold inside her veins. Where is he? The lower city. Selena moved instantly. Cashin grabbed her arm fast. You cannot go down there. Move. Silver light flickered briefly through the room. The power inside her reacting to panic again. Cashin immediately let go. Because for one terrifying second, she did not look entirely human. Ares stepped in front of the tower exit carefully. If the hunters see you, the kingdom falls. Selena looked straight at him. Cold fear and rage twisting together inside her chest. He is alone. The bond pulsed again. Pain. So much pain. Kale was still fighting. Still protecting the kingdom. Still protecting her. Even bleeding. Selena could feel his exhaustion now. His shadows growing unstable again. The same way they did before he almost destroyed himself in the forest. Cashin saw the terror on her face instantly. Then quietly asked, How bad is it? Selena swallowed hard. He is losing control. Silence crushed the tower room. Because everyone remembered what happened last time. The darkness. The rage. The blood moon reacting to Kale. Another explosion shook the palace violently. Dust fell from the ceiling. Then the bomb suddenly flared again. This time Selena heard his voice through it. Weak. Broken. Selena. That one word shattered her completely. Kale never sounded weak. Never. Selena pushed past Ares instantly. Nobody stopped her this time. The palace hallways blurred as she ran. Battle screams echoed through the kingdom below. Smoke filled the air. Keepers rushed through corridors carrying wounded soldiers. The war had reached every part of the First Kingdom now. Cashin followed close behind her, swearing the entire time. Ares caught up seconds later. If the hunters find you in the city, I do not care. The words came out sharper than intended. Because fear drowned everything else now. The bond pulled her toward Kale like invisible chains. Pain kept pulsing through it. Blood, darkness, rage. Selena nearly lost balance on the ruined palace stairs. Cashin caught her arm instantly. You okay? She nodded quickly. Lie. Nothing felt okay anymore. The lower city appeared beneath smoke and fire. Chaos everywhere. Silver flames burned across rooftops. Bodies covered broken streets. Hunters fought keepers through ruined markets. Then Selena felt it. Kale, close now. The bond pulsed violently. She turned toward the central square instantly. And froze. Darkness covered the entire street. Alive darkness. Hungry darkness. Kale stood in the center of it. Breathing hard. Blood pouring down one side of his face. Shadows twisting around him like monsters. Dead hunters surrounded him everywhere. Nobody moved closer. Because they were afraid. Selena's chest tightened painfully. Not from fear of him. Fear for him. Kale slowly lifted his head. Dark eyes found hers instantly across the ruined square. Relief hit his face so fast it almost broke her. Then another hunter attacked him from behind. Kale killed him without even turning around. Pure instinct. Pure violence. But the darkness around him grew worse. More unstable. More alive. And Selena realized with sudden horror, the blood moon was feeding on his rage. Kale looked terrifying. Not human. Not entirely. Darkness crawled across the ruined square like living smoke. Hunters backed away from him in fear. Even the keepers looked uneasy now. Selena moved toward him instantly. Cashin grabbed her arm hard. That is not safe. Selena pulled away immediately. It is Kale, but even saying his name felt strange now. Because the shadows around him no longer obeyed normally. They moved on their own. Hungry. Violent. Kale's eyes stayed locked on Selena as she crossed the ruined square. The moment she stepped closer, the darkness calmed slightly. Only slightly. Like it recognized her. Kale breathed unevenly, blood still running down his face. "Why are you here?" Selena stopped directly in front of him. Because despite everything, he still sounded angry. She placed herself in danger. Her chest nearly broke from it. "You called my name." Kale looked away briefly. Pain crossed his expression. The shadows around him flickered violently again. Selena carefully touched his face. Warm blood stained her fingers instantly. Kale closed his eyes the second she touched him. Relief hitting him too visibly. The darkness calmed more. The entire ruined square noticed. Ares stared in shock nearby. The bond stabilizes him. Cashin looked between them slowly. That feels deeply unhealthy. Nobody cared. Selena gently rested her forehead against Kale's. His breathing finally slowed slightly. The war sounds around them faded briefly. Only the two of them existed. Only warmth. Only survival. Then Kale whispered something so quietly only she heard it. "I thought I lost control." Pain crushed her chest instantly. Because he sounded afraid. Not of death. Of himself. Selena wrapped both arms around him immediately. "You came back to me." Kale held her like drowning men held air. Desperate. Possessive. Like letting go would destroy him. Maybe it would. The ruined square slowly fell silent around them. Hunters retreated into smoke-filled streets. Keepers dragged wounded soldiers away from the battle. But Kale still held Selena tightly. Like his body refused to release her. Selena gently touched the side of his face again. Blood still covered his skin. Dark shadows moved beneath his eyes now. Exhaustion. Too much power used too quickly. "You are hurt." Kale barely reacted. Only tightened his arms around her slightly. "I am alive." The words sounded rough. Empty. Like survival no longer felt enough. Selena looked up at him softly. "You scared me." Kale closed his eyes briefly. Pain crossed his face instantly. Because he knew exactly what she meant. The darkness around him slowly calmed further beneath her touch. Still dangerous. Still unstable. But quieter now. Ares approached carefully beside the broken fountain. "The hunters are pulling back." Cashin looked exhausted. Probably because Shadow Prince here slaughtered half of them. Kale did not even deny it. That somehow felt worse. Selena studied him carefully. The darkness still clung too tightly to his skin. Like it wanted him. The same way the blood moon wanted her. Cold fear twisted through her chest. Kale noticed instantly. His hand gently framed her face. "What?" Selena hesitated. Then quietly whispered, "The darkness is changing you." Silence. Real silence. Kale looked away first. That terrified her more than anything. Because he already knew. Cashin slowly frowned nearby. "What exactly does that mean?" Ares answered instead. "The blood moon bond is evolving." The ruined square suddenly felt colder. Selena stared at Kale. "You said the same thing before." Ares looked uneasy now. "Not like this." Kale's shadows flickered sharply around the street, almost reacting emotionally. The stranger appeared through smoke beside the keepers again. Silver eyes studying Kale carefully. Then quietly said, "The Shadow King is awakening faster than expected." Nobody liked the sound of that sentence. Especially Kale. His expression immediately darkened. "I'm standing right here." The stranger stayed calm. "As am I." Cashin groaned softly. "I really need both of you to stop talking like ancient curses." Selena barely heard them. Her focus stayed entirely on Kale. The darkness around him looked different now. Sharper. More alive. The same way her silver fire changed after the throne. Fear quietly settled inside her chest. Kale noticed immediately. Of course he did. His hand slipped gently into hers. Grounding touch. You are overthinking. Lie. Selena could feel it through the bond. He was terrified too. The stranger slowly walked toward the ruined fountain. Smoke moved around silver robes softly. The blood moon never creates only one ruler. Silence. Ares looked disturbed already. What are you saying? The stranger looked directly at Kale. The queen awakens light. The king awakens darkness. Cold spread through the ruined square. Selena looked toward Kale slowly. Dark King. Shadow King. The titles suddenly felt far too real. Kale stepped closer to her instantly. Like he hated the fear in her eyes. I am still me. Selena believed him. That was not the problem. The problem was how much more he might become protecting her. Another explosion echoed through the distant streets. The war was not over yet. Keepers rushed through smoke, carrying more wounded soldiers. The First Kingdom was bleeding. And Selena suddenly understood something terrifying. The kingdoms were not only afraid of her anymore. They would soon fear Kale too. The bond pulsed warmly between them again. Protective. Possessive. Ancient. Kale gently brushed fingers along her cheek. Soft touch compared to the violence surrounding them. Then quietly whispered, If the darkness changes me, I still choose you. Night returned with silence. Uneasy silence. The kind that followed battlefields. The palace healers worked through every hallway. Smoke still drifted through broken towers. Selena stood beside the large bath chamber watching dark water ripple softly. Her hands would not stop shaking. Kale, almost losing control, haunted her. The darkness in his eyes. The fear in his voice after. She barely noticed him entering behind her. But the bond did. Warmth spread through her chest instantly. Kale stopped near the doorway quietly. Fresh bandages wrapped around his chest now. Dark hair still damp from blood and rain. Gods, he looked exhausted. Selena crossed the room slowly, then gently touched the bandages near his ribs. You should be resting. Kale looked down at her silently. I could not sleep, neither could she. The room stayed quiet except for water moving softly nearby. Selena finally whispered, You frightened me today. Kale's expression shifted immediately. Pain, guilt. He gently rested his forehead against hers. I know. Selena swallowed hard. For a second, you did not look like yourself anymore. The confession hurt him. She felt it through the bond instantly. Kale's hand slowly moved to her waist, holding her closer, grounding himself again. I would rather become a monster than fail protecting you. Her chest shattered hearing that, because he meant it completely. Selena wrapped both arms around him tightly. Kale immediately buried his face against her neck, breathing her in slowly, like he needed proof she was real. Alive, safe. His lips brushed softly against her skin. Then lower. Slow kisses against her neck. Warm. Dangerous. Selena's breathing caught instantly. Kale noticed. Of course he noticed. His hands tightened slightly against her waist. The tension between them deepened again. Heavy. Emotional. Need mixed with fear and relief. Then Kale quietly whispered against her skin. You are the only thing that pulls me back. Selena's fingers tightened against Kale's shirt instantly. The confession still echoed between them. You are the only thing that pulls me back. Kale slowly lifted his head from her neck. Dark eyes already watching her too intensely again. Like she was air. Like she was salvation. Selena touched his face gently. And who pulls me back? Kale's expression softened immediately. You never needed saving. Selena almost laughed sadly. That is not true anymore. Silence settled heavily between them. Because both of them understood. The blood moon changed everything. Kale's thumb slowly brushed across her lower lip. Careful. Possessive. His gaze followed the movement instantly. Heat spread through Selina's chest. Gods, even now he could ruin her with one look. Kale leaned closer slowly, their foreheads touching again. The intimacy between them felt different lately. Deeper, desperate, like both secretly feared time running out. Kale kissed her softly. No violence, no urgency, just warmth, just love. Selina melted against him instantly. Kale's hands slid beneath her shirt slowly, warm fingers tracing her skin carefully, reverently, like touching her still amazed him. A quiet breath escaped Selina. Kale immediately deepened the kiss, one hand tangling into silver hair, the other holding her waist tighter. Possessive instinct again. Always. Selina felt his heartbeat racing beneath her fingertips. Too fast. Too emotional. Then Kale suddenly pulled back slightly, breathing unevenly, dark eyes searching her face carefully again, fear hiding beneath desire. What? Kale swallowed hard. The bond feels different. Cold unease touched her chest instantly. Selina felt it too. Warmer lately. Stronger. More alive. Kale rested one hand against her stomach unconsciously. The second he did, the bond pulsed sharply between them. Both froze instantly. The room went completely silent. Kale slowly looked down at his hand, still resting against Selina's stomach. The bond pulsed warmly again beneath his touch. Stronger this time. Selina's heartbeat stumbled. Kale frowned slightly, like he felt something impossible. Then the moment vanished. The warmth disappeared completely. Both stayed silent, the air suddenly too heavy around them. Kale slowly lifted his eyes back to hers. What was that? Selina forced herself to breathe normally. I do not know. Lie. Deep down, part of her already feared the answer. Kale still looked unsettled. His thumb brushed lightly across her stomach again. Careful this time. Testing. Nothing happened. But the tension stayed. Selina stepped closer quickly, trying to escape the strange feeling. Kale immediately wrapped both arms around her waist. Instinct. Comfort. Need. His face buried briefly against her hair. The intimacy between them softened again slowly. Safer now. Warmer. Kale whispered quietly, I hate when I cannot protect you from something. Pain touched Selina's chest softly, because he sounded genuinely frustrated by it, like he would fight fate itself if he could. Maybe he already was. A loud knock suddenly echoed outside the chamber doors. Both froze instantly. Cashin's voice followed immediately. If you two are being emotionally unstable together again. The keepers found something beneath the palace. Kale closed his eyes slowly, pure irritation crossing his face. Selina laughed quietly despite herself. The sound instantly softened him again. Gods, he reacted to her emotions like the bond controlled him already. Kale pressed one final kiss against her forehead, then quietly whispered, If another cursed throne appears, I am burning this kingdom down. The tunnels beneath the palace smelled ancient. Dust-covered black stone walls. Silver flames lit themselves as the group walked deeper underground. Selina stayed close beside Kale. His hand never left her lower back. Grounding touch. Protective touch. Possessive touch. Cashin looked around uneasily. I hate underground places now. Ares ignored him completely. The keepers led them deeper beneath the kingdom silently. Everyone looked tense tonight. The stranger walked ahead carrying silver fire in one hand. The light painted strange shadows across his face. Selina still did not trust him fully. But somehow, the kingdom trusted him. That bothered her. The tunnels finally opened into a massive underground chamber. And Selina stopped breathing instantly. A giant black mirror stood in the center of the room. Silver cracks spread across its surface. Ancient symbols surrounded it. The moment Selena looked at the mirror, whispers flooded her head again. Kale instantly noticed. His hand tightened around hers. "What do you hear?" Selena swallowed hard. "Voices." Cashin sighed dramatically. "Of course there are voices." The stranger slowly stepped toward the mirror. His expression darker than usual now. This was hidden after the first war. Ares stared at the symbols around the mirror. Fear crossed his face instantly. The veil mirror. Cold silence followed. Selena looked between them. "What is it?" Nobody answered immediately. That terrified her more. Then the stranger quietly said, "It shows what the blood moon hides." The chamber suddenly felt freezing cold. Kale immediately stepped slightly in front of Selena. Protective instinct again. Always. Then the cracked mirror slowly lit silver. And Selena saw herself standing inside it. Alone, wearing a crown of shadows. Selena froze. The reflection inside the mirror slowly lifted its head. Silver eyes glowing unnaturally bright. A crown of shadows rested above dark hair. Not silver hair. Dark, like Kale's. Cold spread through Selena's chest instantly. Kale stepped fully in front of her now. His shadows moved violently around the chamber. "Turn it off." The stranger did not move. The mirror version of Selena smiled slowly. "Wrong. Not cruel. Just empty." Cashin immediately stepped backward. "No, I hate this deeply." Ares stared at the mirror in horror. The veil does not create lies. Silence crushed the underground chamber. Kale looked furious already. "It is showing fear." The stranger finally spoke again. "No, it is showing possibility." Selena could not stop staring at the reflection. The dark crown. The shadows. The loneliness in those silver eyes. Then the mirror version of Selena quietly whispered, "You cannot save him." The words slammed through her chest violently. Kale instantly grabbed her hand, grounding her again. The reflection slowly turned its head toward Kale next, and smiled sadly. "He dies for you in every lifetime." Pain exploded through the bond immediately. Kale's shadows burst across the chamber. The mirror cracked harder. Cashin cursed loudly. The keepers backed away instantly. Kale looked murderous now. Enough, that Selena could barely breathe. Because deep down, part of her believed the mirror. The reflection lifted one hand slowly against the glass. Then softly whispered, "The blood moon always takes him from you." The chamber exploded into darkness. Kale destroyed the mirror. Shadows ripped through the chamber violently. Black cracks spread across the ancient glass. The reflection vanished instantly. Silver fire exploded through the underground room. Everyone stumbled backward. The veil mirror shattered into darkness. Silence followed. Heavy silence. Kale stood breathing hard beside Selena, his shadows still moving dangerously around him. Protective rage filled the entire chamber. Selena barely heard Cashin speaking nearby. While that felt emotionally devastating, Ares looked pale. "You should not have destroyed it." Kale slowly turned toward him, cold fury crossing his face. It threatened her. The simple answer somehow made everything worse, because he truly saw no difference between danger and prophecy anymore. Selena gently touched his arm. Instantly the shadows calmed slightly. Only slightly. Kale looked down at her immediately. Fear lived openly inside his eyes now. Not fear for himself. Fear of losing her. Fear of leaving her. The same fear the mirror used against both of them. Selena stepped closer slowly. "It was trying to break us." Kale's hand instantly moved to her waist, grounding himself through touch again. It failed, but his voice sounded strained, because the mirror affected him too. The stranger quietly studied the shattered remains, then softly said, "The veil only shows paths touched by destiny." Selena felt sick hearing that. Kale noticed immediately. His hand gently framed her face. You do not believe it. Selina wanted to lie, but she remembered the reflection's eyes. Lonely. Broken. Waiting for someone who never returned. The bond pulsed painfully between them. Cale understood instantly. Pain crossed his expression. Then he quietly whispered, I would still choose you. The words nearly shattered her completely. Because he sounded like someone already prepared to die for her again. The palace felt colder after the mirror. Like the kingdom itself sensed what it revealed. Selina stood alone near the high balcony long after midnight. Fog covered the ruined streets below. The reflection still haunted her. He dies for you in every lifetime. The words would not leave her mind. Footsteps approached quietly behind her. Cale, always finding her. He stopped beside her silently. No armor tonight. No shadows moving violently around him. Just Cale, exhausted. Beautiful. Broken in ways nobody else noticed. Selina kept staring toward the sleeping kingdom. I saw your face when the mirror spoke. Cale stayed silent. That answer hurt more. Cold wind moved through silver hair softly. Then Cale quietly admitted, I have seen myself die for you before. Selina slowly looked toward him. Pain tightened inside her chest instantly. What? Cale leaned against the balcony beside her. Dark eyes fixed on the fog below. Dreams. Memories. I do not know anymore. The bond pulsed softly between them. Emotional. Heavy. Cale finally looked at her. And Selina almost broke seeing the fear in his eyes. Not fear of death. Fear of leaving her alone. I think I always would. The honesty destroyed her completely. Selina crossed the distance between them instantly. Her hands framing his face tightly. No. Cale closed his eyes briefly beneath her touch. Like the warmth physically hurt him now. You asked me once if I feared what you would become. His voice sounded rough. Low. Emotional. I fear what I become losing you more. Tears burned Selina's eyes immediately. Cale gently rested his forehead against hers. Hands shaking slightly against her waist now. Only slightly. Only she noticed. Then he whispered something so softly it almost disappeared into the wind. If fate wants you, it fights me first. Selina kissed him before he could say anything else. Desperate. Emotional. Like she could silence fate itself if she held him close enough. Cale immediately pulled her against him. One hand tangled tightly in silver hair. The other gripping her waist possessively. The kiss felt different tonight. Not soft. Not gentle. Fear lived inside it. Fear of losing each other again. Cale kissed her like time was running out. Like every second mattered now. Selina felt tears burn behind her eyes. Gods, she loved him too much. Cale slowly pulled back, breathing unevenly, forehead resting against hers. Dark eyes searching her face carefully again. Always checking, always memorizing. Then distant screams echoed through the kingdom below. The moment shattered instantly. Cale's entire body tensed. War again. Always war. A keeper suddenly burst onto the balcony. Terrified. The northern gate fell. Silence crushed the night air. Cale immediately moved away from Selina. Darking again. Dangerous again. The soft emotion vanished behind cold focus. But before leaving, his hand found hers one last time. Thumb brushing softly across her skin. Promise. Goodbye. Both somehow. Then he looked directly at her. If anything happens tonight, you stay in the upper palace. Selina already hated the sound of that sentence. You were speaking like the mirror. Pain flashed across his face instantly. Because he heard it too. Cale stepped closer one final time. Pressed a slow kiss against her forehead. Then quietly whispered, I need you alive more than I need myself. And disappeared into the darkness below. The kingdom burned before sunrise. Silver fire spread across ruined towers. Hunters flooded the lower city streets. Screams echoed through every hallway of the palace. Selena stood near the war balcony watching chaos consume the First Kingdom. Fear twisted through the bond violently now. Kale was fighting again. Hard, too hard. Every pulse through the bond felt darker than before. More unstable. Cashin rushed onto the balcony breathing heavily. The hunters brought blood moon chains. Cold spread through Selena instantly. What? Cashin looked genuinely alarmed now. They are trying to drag something through the gate. The words hit wrong immediately. The gate. The creature. Selena felt dread crash through her chest. Ares entered moments later. Blood stained one side of his robes. The seal beneath the kingdom is breaking. Everything froze. The First Kingdom had another seal. Of course it did. The stranger suddenly appeared beside the balcony doors. For once, even he looked afraid. If the seal falls, the realm beyond the gate fully opens. War horns screamed through the city below. The bond between Selena and Kale pulsed painfully again. This time she felt exhaustion so deep it nearly dropped her to her knees. Cashin caught her instantly. Selena, she grabbed his arm hard. He is bleeding again. The stranger looked toward the burning city, then quietly said the words that destroyed the room. The Shadow King cannot survive another awakening. Silence. Real silence. Because everyone understood what that meant. Kale was killing himself protecting her. Selena could not stay in the palace anymore. Fear drowned everything else. The bond kept pulsing painfully through her chest. Kale was weakening. She could feel it. Cashin followed her through the burning hallways, still trying to keep up while soldiers rushed around them. You know he is going to lose his mind when he sees you on the battlefield. I do not care. The palace trembled violently beneath another explosion. Dust rained from the ceiling. The First Kingdom was collapsing. Selena reached the lower war gates just as keepers dragged wounded soldiers inside. Blood covered the stone floors. Smoke filled the air. Then she saw him. Kale stood in the center of the ruined courtyard surrounded by darkness. More hunters lay dead around him. Too many dead bodies. The shadows around him no longer looked normal. They moved like living creatures now. Hungry. Wild. Kale slowly turned the second he felt her near. Fear hit his face instantly. Not relief. Fear, because she was here. His voice echoed sharply across the burning courtyard. What are you doing here? Selena moved toward him anyway. Ignoring the blood. Ignoring the chaos. Ignoring the way darkness twisted violently around him now. Kale reached her in seconds. Hands grabbing her face desperately. Checking for injuries immediately. You should be inside. You are falling apart. Silence. His eyes flickered away briefly. That was answer enough. Selena touched the blood across his jaw softly. The darkness around him calmed beneath her touch again. Only her touch. Kale leaned into it for 1 weak second. Only one. Then war screams echoed nearby again. Reality crashing back instantly. Kale grabbed her hand tightly. The grip almost desperate now. Then quietly whispered, "If the seal breaks, you run." Selena stared at him in disbelief. "You cannot seriously think I would leave you." Kale's jaw tightened instantly. Smoke moved around them through the ruined courtyard. Hunters still screamed somewhere beyond the broken walls. The war had reached every part of the kingdom now. Kale stepped closer, one bloody hand framing her face carefully. "You have to." "No." The answer came too fast. Too emotional. Kale closed his eyes briefly. Like hearing her refuse physically hurt him. The darkness around him flickered violently again. Unstable. Hungry. Selena felt the fear beneath the bond instantly. Not fear of dying. Fear of what he might become. Kale rested his forehead against hers quietly. If the seal opens fully, the creature comes for you first. Selena swallowed hard. And you? Kale gave a weak, humorless smile. It already has me. Pain crushed her chest hearing that. Because deep down, part of her understood exactly what he meant. The darkness, the shadows, the blood moon inside him now. A loud scream echoed across the courtyard suddenly. Then the ground shook violently beneath them. Everyone froze. Cracks spread through the stone floor. Black smoke exploded upward from beneath the kingdom. The seal. It was breaking. Ares appeared near the shattered gate, breathing hard. The hunters reached the lower chamber. Cashin looked genuinely horrified now. Oh, that sounds catastrophically bad. Kale immediately pulled Selena behind him protectively. The darkness around him sharpened again. Ready to kill. Ready to consume. Then a deep roar exploded beneath the kingdom. Ancient. Terrifying. Alive. The creature had awakened again. And this time, it was directly beneath them. Chaos erupted instantly. The courtyard cracked apart beneath everyone's feet. Keepers screamed as black smoke poured from the ground. The roar beneath the kingdom shook every tower violently. Selena felt cold terror spread through the bond. Kale's shadows exploded around her protectively, shielding her body before the stone beneath them collapsed. The world dropped suddenly. Kale grabbed her waist instantly. Darkness wrapped around both of them as they fell into the lower chamber. Stone shattered everywhere around them. Then silence. Heavy silence. Dust filled the underground ruins slowly. Selena coughed painfully. Kale still held her tightly against his chest. One arm wrapped protectively around her head, shielding her from the fall. Always protecting her first. Selena looked up at him quickly. Blood ran down the side of his face again. Kale, I am fine. Lie. Again. The underground chamber slowly became visible through drifting smoke. Ancient ruins stretched endlessly beneath the kingdom. Broken pillars. Silver chains. Destroyed thrones. And in the center of the chamber, a massive black gate pulsed violently. Cracked open. The seal was failing. Hunters lay dead across the floor nearby. Whatever emerged first killed them instantly. Selena slowly stepped closer, then froze. A heartbeat echoed through the chamber. Not hers. Not Kale's. Something alive beyond the gate. Waiting. Watching. Kale instantly moved in front of her again. Shadows twisting violently around him now. The darkness clearly recognized the gate. Recognized what waited behind it. Then the gate slowly cracked wider. A giant silver eye opened inside the darkness and looked directly at Selena. The chamber turned freezing cold. The silver eye inside the gate never blinked. It only watched Selena. Waiting. Hungry. Kale stepped further in front of her instantly. Every shadow in the chamber reacted with him. Violent. Ancient. Protective. The creature behind the gate laughed softly. The sound echoed through the underground ruins unnaturally. Little Queen. Selena felt the whispers return instantly. Louder than before. The gate wanted her. Always her. Kale's voice dropped dangerously low. You do not speak to her. The silver eye slowly shifted toward him. Amusement crossed the darkness beyond the gate. The Shadow King awakens beautifully. Cold fear twisted through Selena's chest. Because the creature sounded pleased. Kale's shadows sharpened violently around the chamber. The gate chains rattled loudly in response. The darkness inside Kale recognized the creature. Recognized power. The creature slowly spoke again. You were never meant to survive this long. Selena forced herself to speak. What are you? The silver eye focused entirely on her again. Silence stretched too long. Then the creature softly answered. Your beginning. The words slammed through the chamber heavily. Kale immediately grabbed Selena's hand tightly, grounding her, protecting her. The bond pulsed painfully between them. Then the gate suddenly cracked wider. Black smoke flooded the ruins. The creature pushed against the opening violently. Kale moved instantly. Darkness exploded from him like a storm. The entire underground kingdom shook. Selena felt the bond snap painfully through her chest. Too much power. Too much darkness. Kale attacked the gate alone. And Selena suddenly realized with horrifying clarity he was preparing to sacrifice himself again. Kale, stop. Selena's voice echoed through the underground chamber sharply. But Kale did not look back. Darkness poured from him violently. The ruined kingdom shook beneath his power. Chains around the gate snapped apart one by one. The creature behind the seal laughed softly. Like this was exactly what it wanted. Selena felt panic tear through the bond. Kale was losing himself again. No. Worse. He was choosing this. Ares and Cashin finally reached the lower chamber above the broken stairs. Both froze instantly seeing the gate. Cashin looked horrified. That is significantly worse than expected. Nobody answered him. Kale stood directly before the opening now. Black shadows twisting around his body like wings. The silver eye behind the gate watched him carefully. You finally understand. Kale's voice sounded wrong when he answered. Colder. Ancient. If I become stronger than you never touch her again. Fear crushed Selena's chest. Because he meant it. He would let darkness consume him if it kept her safe. The creature smiled inside the shadows. And what remains of you after? Kale did not hesitate. I do not care. Pain shattered through Selena instantly. She moved toward him fast, ignoring Ares trying to stop her, ignoring the shaking ruins. Selena grabbed Kale's arm hard. The second she touched him, the darkness exploded violently around them. The bond pulsed brighter than ever before. Kale froze instantly, his breathing uneven now. Selena stepped directly in front of him. Tears burned her eyes. You do not get to leave me again. For one terrifying second, Kale still looked consumed by darkness. Then his expression cracked, pain flooding through it. His shaking hand slowly touched her face. And quietly, almost broken, he whispered, I do not know how to survive you. Selena grabbed his hand tighter instantly. Then survive with me. The words shattered through the underground chamber. Kale stared at her silently. Darkness still moved violently around his body. But the moment she touched him, it hesitated. Like the bond itself fought to pull him back. The creature behind the gate watched everything carefully. Amused. Interested. Ancient chains rattled around the seal again. Ares slowly stepped closer. Fear visible across his face now. The gate is feeding on both of you. Cashin looked between Kale and the creature. I truly hate soulmates. Nobody laughed. Kale's breathing remained uneven. His eyes still darker than normal. Still dangerous. But Selena could feel him returning slowly. The real him. Her Kale, his hand slid shakily against her waist, grounding himself through her touch again. Always her. The creature suddenly spoke softly through the gate. She cannot save you forever. Kale immediately looked toward the opening again, rage flashing through the darkness inside him. Selena felt it instantly through the bond. Too much rage. Too much fear. The creature understood exactly how to break him. By threatening her. Selena moved closer quickly, both hands framing Kale's face, forcing him to look only at her. Stay with me. The plea in her voice nearly destroyed him. Kale closed his eyes tightly, like holding on to himself physically hurt now. Then he slowly rested his forehead against hers. The darkness around him finally weakened slightly. Relief crashed through Selena instantly, until the gate suddenly cracked wider. A giant claw slammed through the opening violently. The underground chamber exploded into chaos. Stone shattered everywhere. The claw ripped through ancient pillars violently. Keepers screamed above the ruined stairs. Black smoke flooded the chamber faster now. The creature was forcing itself through the gate. Kale instantly shoved Selena behind him protectively. His shadows exploded across the ruins. The giant claw slammed toward them again. Kale stopped it with darkness alone. The entire kingdom shook from the impact. Cashin stared in horror. How was that even possible? Kale barely looked human anymore. Shadows moved across his skin like living marks. The blood moon inside him was awakening fully now. Selena felt terror crash through the bond. Not fear of the creature. Fear of losing him. The claw pushed harder against Kale's shadows. Ancient chains snapped apart around the gate. The creature laughed deeply. You cannot hold me forever. Kale's voice sounded rough. Dangerous. I only need long enough. The words hit Selena instantly. Long enough for what? Cold realization spread through her chest. No. No. He was still planning sacrifice. The same way he always did. The chamber cracked violently again. More of the creature forced through the gate now. Silver fire spread across the ceiling. The seal was dying. Ares looked horrified. If the gate fully opens, the realm beyond consumes everything. Selena looked toward Kale desperately. He already knew. That was the problem. Kale suddenly turned toward her. Dark eyes softer for one painful second. Like he was memorizing her face. The look shattered her instantly. Because it looked like goodbye. No. Selena moved toward him instantly. But Kale's shadows stopped her gently. Not hurting her. Just holding her back. The gesture somehow hurt worse. Kale kept his eyes on the gate. On the creature forcing itself through the seal. But Selena felt everything through the bond now. His fear. His exhaustion. His decision. Do not do this. Her voice broke completely. Kale finally looked toward her again. Pain crossed his face instantly hearing her cry. The darkness around him flickered violently. Like even now, she still reached the part of him fighting to stay human. The creature behind the gate smiled slowly. He always chooses death for you. Rage exploded through Kale instantly. Shadows slammed against the gate violently. The underground chamber cracked further apart. Cashin grabbed the ruined wall nearby. This relationship is emotionally exhausting. Nobody listened. Selena fought harder against the shadows holding her. Tears blurred her vision now. You promised me. Kale's expression shattered completely. Because he remembered. Every lifetime. Every promise. Every time he came back to her. He slowly stepped closer despite the gate roaring behind him. The shadows finally released Selena. She grabbed his armor instantly, holding him like she could stop fate itself. Kale touched her face carefully, hands shaking slightly now. Only she noticed. I need you to live. Selena shook her head desperately. Not without you. Pain flashed through his eyes so sharply it nearly destroyed her. The bond pulsed violently between them. Love, fear, grief already beginning. Kale leaned down slowly, forehead resting against hers. Then quietly whispered, if this is the only way I keep you safe, I would do it in every lifetime. The gate exploded wider behind them. The creature roared violently through the chamber. Ancient chains snapped apart one by one. Time was running out. Kale still held Selena close, like he was trying to memorize the feeling of her in his arms. Selena refused to let go. Her hands gripped his armor tightly. Desperate. Terrified. The bond between them hurt now, like it already sensed separation coming. Ares stepped forward shakily. There may still be another way. Kale looked toward the gate, then toward Selena, and Selena knew instantly. He no longer believed that. The creature pushed another massive claw through the opening. Silver fire spread across the chamber walls. The first kingdom trembled violently. Cashin looked pale now. "We are seconds away from catastrophe." Kale gently touched Selena's cheek. The tenderness nearly shattered her. "You once asked me what I feared." Tears spilled down Selena's face silently. Kale's thumb brushed them away carefully. "I fear leaving you in a world without me." The confession destroyed her completely. Selena wrapped both arms around him desperately. "Then stay, for one heartbreaking second." Kale looked tempted, like he wanted to choose her over destiny, over sacrifice, over everything. Then the creature roared again. The chamber ceiling began collapsing. Reality returned instantly. Kale closed his eyes briefly. Like forcing himself to break apart from her physically hurt him. Then he pressed one final kiss against her forehead. Long, shaking, emotional, and quietly whispered, "I love you enough to become the villain of every story." The bond snapped violently. Darkness exploded through the chamber, and Kale walked toward the gate alone. "Kale!" Selena screamed his name across the collapsing chamber. But he never stopped walking. Darkness surrounded him completely now. Shadows twisting like living wings behind his body. The creature beyond the gate laughed softly, like it already knew how this story ended. Kale stopped directly before the opening. The entire underground kingdom shook violently. Silver fire spread across broken pillars. Ancient chains snapped apart around the seal. Cashin grabbed Selena before the collapsing floor reached her. She fought him instantly, trying to reach Kale, trying to stop him. "You cannot go near the gate. I cannot lose him." The words shattered out of her. Raw, broken. Kale finally looked back one last time. And Selena nearly stopped breathing. Because he looked calm now. Not afraid. Like he already accepted death. No, worse, like he accepted becoming something else entirely. The bond between them burned painfully. Selena felt every emotion inside him. Love, grief, goodbye. Kale slowly lifted one hand toward her. Not touching. Too far now. But the gesture still felt intimate somehow. Promise. Apology. Finality. Then the creature attacked. A massive claw slammed toward Kale violently. Darkness exploded from him instantly. The entire chamber disappeared beneath black shadows. Everyone screamed. The gate roared. Reality itself seemed to crack apart. And then, silence. Complete silence. The darkness vanished suddenly. Selena looked toward the gate desperately. The chamber stood ruined. Broken stone everywhere. The seal closed again. The creature was gone. And so was Kale. The world stopped. Selena stared at the empty space before the sealed gate, breathing unevenly. No, 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 no. This was not real. The bond felt wrong. Quiet, too quiet. Like half her soul suddenly disappeared. Cashin slowly released her arm. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. Even the kingdom itself felt silent now. Selena walked toward the gate shakily. Blood covered the ruined floor. Kale's blood. The sight nearly destroyed her instantly. Kale. No answer. Only silence. Cold, horrible silence. Ari stepped closer carefully. Selena. No. Silver fire exploded through the chamber violently. Everyone stepped back instantly. The grief inside her shattered something open. The bond pulsed painfully once. Then nothing. Empty. Gone. Selena dropped to her knees hard beside the gate. Hands shaking uncontrollably now. This could not happen. Not again. Not him. Tears blurred everything around her. She pressed one trembling hand against the cold black seal. Nothing. No heartbeat. No shadows. No Kale. The realization finally hit fully. He was gone. A broken sound escaped her throat. Not human. Pure grief. Cashin looked away first, because even he could not watch it. Selena curled against the ruined gate silently, still waiting for the bond to return, still waiting for him to come back. But the darkness beyond the seals stayed empty. And for the first time since meeting Kale, Selena truly felt alone. 3 days passed. The First Kingdom barely survived the battle. Smoke still covered parts of the ruined city. Keepers rebuilt broken walls in silence. Nobody spoke Kale's name around Selena anymore. That somehow hurt worse. Selena stayed inside the highest tower overlooking the dead kingdom below. The room felt empty without him. Too quiet. Too cold. She still woke every night reaching for him, only to find nothing. The bond remained silent. Dead silent. Cashin visited every day anyway, usually carrying food she barely touched. Today he stood near the balcony awkwardly. You should eat something. Selena kept staring toward the mountains outside. Kale promised he would come back. Every lifetime. Every time. So why did the silence feel endless now? Cashin slowly set the tray aside. He would haunt me if I let you starve. Pain hit her chest instantly hearing that. Would. Past tense. Selena finally looked at him. Dark circles shadowed her eyes now. Silver fire still flickered faintly beneath her skin sometimes. Unstable. Grief changed her too. Cashin softened slightly seeing her expression. He loved you enough to destroy worlds. Tears burned her eyes immediately. I did not want him to die for me. Cashin looked away briefly. Yeah, neither did he. The honesty shattered something inside her again. Silence settled heavily through the tower room. Then sudden dizziness hit Selena hard. She grabbed the balcony railing instantly. Cashin frowned immediately. You okay? I just stood too fast. Lie. The nausea hit harder lately. Exhaustion too. Selena pressed one hand against her stomach unconsciously. The strange warmth returned again beneath her ribs. Wrong. Different. Alive. And for one terrifying second, the bond pulsed softly. Selena froze instantly. The pulse vanished as quickly as it appeared. But she felt it. Warm. Alive. Impossible. Cashin noticed her expression immediately. What happened? Selena slowly lowered her hand from her stomach. Nothing. The bond stayed silent again. Empty. Like Kale truly disappeared beyond the gate. So why did she still feel something? Cashin stepped closer carefully. Selena. She forced herself to breathe normally. I am fine. Lie. Everything inside her felt wrong lately. The exhaustion. The nausea. The strange warmth beneath her ribs. A terrible thought slowly crept into her mind. No. Impossible. The tower doors suddenly opened. A keeper entered quickly. Fear visible across scarred features. The council requests the queen. Selena hated that title now. Queen meant sacrifice. Queen meant loss. Queen meant Kale gone. Cashin instantly looked annoyed. She is not attending another meeting, where old people blame her for the apocalypse. The keeper hesitated. They are demanding answers. Selena slowly straightened beside the balcony. Coldness settling over her expression now. Grief hardened something inside her. Fine. Cashin studied her carefully. Because for one dangerous second, she looked almost like the woman from the mirror. The queen crowned in shadows. The council chamber beneath the palace filled with tension. Keepers lined the walls silently. Several northern rulers stood near the ancient table. The moment Selena entered, every conversation stopped. Fear crossed their faces instantly. Not respect. Fear. One ruler finally spoke first. The Shadow King is dead. Pain hit Selena instantly. But her expression never changed. The blood moon remains unstable. Another ruler continued carefully. A third slowly looked toward Selena. We need to discuss the air. The room went completely silent. Selena stopped breathing. The air. Cold dread spread through her body instantly. Cashin looked equally confused beside her. What air? Nobody answered immediately. That terrified Selena more. An older ruler slowly stood from the council table. Silver rings covered his scarred hands. The blood moon bond leaves signs. Selena's pulse thundered painfully now. No, 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 no. The ruler carefully looked toward her stomach. The kingdoms already suspect. Everything inside her went ice cold. Cashin slowly turned toward Selena. Then realization hit his face instantly. Oh, the room blurred slightly around her. The exhaustion, the sickness, the strange warmth, the bond pulse. Tears instantly burned behind her eyes. Kale, gods, Kale never knew. Pain crashed through her so hard she nearly stopped breathing. The ruler continued speaking carefully. If the air survives, the blood moon line continues. Selena barely heard him anymore. Her hand slowly moved against her stomach unconsciously. Alive, there was life inside her. And Kale was gone. A sharp breath escaped her quietly. Cashin immediately stepped beside her. Protective instinct replacing shock. Maybe everyone should stop discussing her child like a cursed artifact. The rulers fell silent instantly. Because silver fire flickered across Selena's skin now. Grief, fear, rage, all mixing together dangerously. One ruler finally whispered, "The child could destroy kingdoms." Selena slowly lifted her head. And the entire room froze. Because grief turned her silver eyes almost black. Then she quietly whispered, "Touch my child, and I will destroy more than kingdoms." Nobody spoke after that. Fear spread through the council chamber instantly. Even the rulers stepped backward slightly. Cashin looked almost proud. There she is. Selena barely heard him. Her mind still echoed with the same thought over and over. Kale never knew. The grief inside her chest felt endless now. Heavy, sharp, alive. The rulers slowly left the chamber one by one. Nobody wanted to challenge her again. Not after the silver fire. Not after the darkness inside her eyes. Cashin stayed beside her silently until the doors closed. Then softly asked, "Did you know?" Selena shook her head slowly. Tears finally slipped down her face. No. The single word sounded shattered. Cashin looked away briefly. Like even he did not know how to comfort this. Selena pressed trembling hands against her stomach. Kale's child. Their child. And he was gone. A broken laugh escaped her quietly. He would have been unbearable. Cashin blinked slowly. What? Selena wiped tears from her face weakly. He already acted overprotective when I had a headache. For the first time in days, a tiny smile crossed Cashin's face. Yeah, he definitely would have terrified everyone. The thought hurt and healed her at the same time. Kale would have touched her stomach like something sacred. Would have looked at her like she carried the stars themselves. Would have stayed beside her every second. Would have loved this child endlessly. Pain crushed her again instantly. Because now he never would. Selena turned toward the dark palace windows slowly. The bond still felt empty. Silent. Gone. And yet, her hand resting against her stomach felt warm. Alive. Then quietly, almost too softly to hear, a whisper brushed through the bond. Selena. Selena froze instantly. Her heartbeat stopped completely. Cashin frowned beside her. What? She slowly looked around the empty chamber. Nobody there. No shadows. No darkness. But she heard it. His voice. Weak. Distant. Alive. Kale. Cashin's expression changed immediately. You felt something. The bond pulsed softly again. faint, broken. But there, tears instantly filled Selena's eyes. He was alive. Gods, he was alive. Selena grabbed the edge of the council table hard. The relief hit so violently it almost dropped her to her knees. Cashin caught her arm quickly. Easy. He is alive. The words broke out of her desperately. Hope, fear, disbelief, all mixed together. Cashin stared at her silently, then slowly smiled for the first time in days. Well, that dramatic idiot would survive pure death out of spite. Selena laughed through tears instantly. The sound almost hurt after so much grief. The bond pulsed again. Still weak. Still far away. But alive. Cale was alive somewhere beyond the gate. The realization changed everything. The darkness inside her grief suddenly shifted. Purpose replacing despair. She would find him. No matter where the blood moon buried him. No matter what waited beyond the gate. Cashin studied her carefully now. And for the first time since Cale disappeared, Selena no longer looked broken. She looked dangerous. Then the tower windows suddenly shattered inward. Cold wind exploded through the chamber violently. Everyone turned instantly. A figure stood outside the ruined balcony doors. Silver armor. Blood-covered cloak. A hunter. The hunter slowly removed his hood. Then looked directly at Selena. The Shadow King lives. Silence crushed the chamber again. The hunter's expression darkened. But not for much longer. Cashin immediately drew his sword. The hunter did not move. Rain poured through the shattered balcony behind him. Cold wind filled the chamber. Selena slowly stepped forward. Every part of her body still shaking from hope. Cale was alive. Alive. The hunter watched her carefully. Silver scars crossed one side of his face. Old war marks. You saw him. The hunter nodded once. Beyond the veil, the bond pulsed faintly again. Weak, broken, but real. Selena pressed one trembling hand against her chest instinctively. Relief nearly destroyed her. Cashin still looked suspicious. And why exactly are you helping us? The hunter slowly removed a silver blade from his side, then dropped it to the floor. Surrender. I owe the Shadow King my life. Silence followed. The hunter's eyes shifted towards Selena again. He stayed behind to close the gate. Pain flashed through her chest instantly. Of course he did. Always protecting everyone else first. The hunter stepped closer slowly. He is trapped between realms now. Cold fear replaced relief immediately. Between realms. Not dead. But not safe either. Selena's silver fire flickered beneath her skin again. Determination replacing grief. How do I bring him back? Cashin blinked beside her. Straight to the point. The hunter looked uneasy for the first time. The veil opens only during the blood moon. A distant horn echoed through the kingdom outside. Storm clouds darkened the sky beyond the shattered balcony. The hunter slowly looked toward the mountains. It rises tomorrow night. Silence crushed the chamber. Tomorrow. One chance. One final chance. Selena slowly lifted her head. Silver eyes glowing softly now. Then quietly whispered, "Prepare the gate." The first kingdom prepared for war again. Keepers moved through the palace carrying silver weapons and ancient relics. Torches burned across every tower through the night. Nobody slept. Tomorrow night decided everything. Selena stood alone inside the highest balcony chamber watching. Storm clouds swallow the mountains. The blood moon would rise soon. And somewhere beyond the veil, Cale was still alive. The bond pulsed faintly every few hours now. Weak, painful, but enough. Enough to keep her breathing. Enough to keep hope alive. Footsteps approached quietly behind her. Cashin. He carried 2 cups of tea awkwardly. I was informed pregnant queens should drink something warm. Despite everything, a small laugh escaped Selena. Gods, it felt strange hearing laughter again. Cashin handed her one cup carefully, then leaned beside the balcony railing. You look terrifying lately. Selena stared toward the storm silently. I feel terrifying lately. Cashin studied her for a moment. The silver fire changes when you are emotional. Selena looked down at her hands slowly. Silver light flickered faintly beneath her skin again. Unstable. The child reacted to everything now. Fear, grief, hope. The blood moon itself seemed connected to it somehow. Cashin noticed where her hand rested against her stomach. His expression softened slightly. He would lose his mind over this. Pain and warmth hit her chest together instantly. Kale. Selena closed her eyes briefly. I never got to tell him. Cashin looked toward the dark mountains quietly. You will. The simple confidence nearly shattered her again. Because she wanted to believe it so badly. The bond suddenly pulsed harder than before. Selena gasped softly. Kale. Fear exploded through the connection. Pain. Chains. Darkness. Selena nearly dropped the cup instantly. Cashin grabbed her arm quickly. What happened? Selena looked toward the storm outside in horror. Through the bond, she heard Kale scream. Selena did not wait for sunrise. The lower gate chamber beneath the kingdom already burned with silver fire when she arrived. Keepers surrounded the ancient seals silently. Ares stood near the center symbols preparing the ritual. The hunter waited beside the broken stairs. Even Cashin looked nervous tonight. The blood moon slowly rose outside above the mountains. Huge, red, wrong, the same moon from every nightmare. The same moon that always took Kale from her. Selena stepped toward the gate slowly. The bond pulsed violently now. Kale was close. Close enough that she could feel his pain. Chains. Darkness. Something trying to consume him. Ares looked toward her carefully. Once the veil opens, there may not be another chance. Selena did not hesitate. Open it. The ancient symbols around the chamber immediately lit silver. The kingdom trembled violently. Black smoke poured from the seal again. The gate slowly cracked apart. Cold air exploded through the ruins. The veil was opening. Cashin stepped beside Selena quietly. If this goes terribly wrong, I blame both of you. For one brief second, Selena almost smiled. Then the gate fully opened. Darkness stretched endlessly beyond it. And there, far inside the veil, she saw him. Kale, chained to black stone beneath a ruined sky. Blood covered his face. Darkness moved through his veins like poison now. But the moment he felt her presence, his head slowly lifted. Dark eyes found hers instantly across the veil. Relief shattered across his face. Then horror replaced it, because something monstrous moved behind him in the darkness. And Kale screamed only one word. Run. Something massive moved behind Kale in the darkness. Too fast to fully see. Silver eyes opened across the veil one by one. Watching Selena. Waiting. The chains around Kale tightened violently. He dropped to one knee with a broken gasp. Close the gate. His voice sounded rough. Destroyed. Selena moved toward the veil instantly. No. Cashin grabbed her arm hard. That thing behind him looks deeply illegal. Nobody laughed. Kale pulled against the chains desperately. Darkness crawled beneath his skin now. More than before. The veil was changing him. Consuming him slowly. Ares struggled beside the ritual symbols. The gate cannot stay open long. The monstrous shape behind Kale stepped closer. Huge claws dragged across black stone. Ancient whispers flooded the chamber instantly. Selena felt the child react sharply inside her. Warmth pulsed beneath her ribs. The creature behind Kale suddenly stopped moving, then slowly tilted its head, like it sensed the life inside her. Fear slammed through Selena instantly. Kale noticed too. Pure panic crossed his face. Get her out of here. The creature lunged. Kale ripped free from one chain violently. Darkness exploded across the veil. The entire kingdom shook. Kale attacked the monster instantly. Even chained. Even dying. Still protecting her first. Selena felt every piece of his pain through the bond. The creature slammed him across the ruined veil violently. Blood-covered black stone. Selena screamed his name. Kale slowly lifted his head again. Breathing hard. Broken. But still fighting. Always still fighting. Then he looked directly at Selena. And quietly whispered, "You came back for me." Tears burned down Selena's face instantly. "Of course I did." Kale stared at her through the veil silently. Chains still wrapped around one arm. Darkness moving through his veins like poison. But his eyes softened hearing her voice. Only for her. Always only for her. The monster behind him roared again. The veil shook violently. Eris looked terrified beside the ritual circle. "The gate is collapsing." Cashan pointed toward the creature. "Maybe we should focus on the nightmare beast first." Selena barely heard him. Her entire world narrowed to Kale, to the blood on his skin, to the exhaustion in his eyes, to the fact he was alive. Kale slowly stood again inside the veil, unsteady, but alive. The creature circled behind him now, massive wings dragging through darkness, waiting for weakness, waiting for pain. Selena stepped closer to the gate, silver fire flickering beneath her skin. "I'm coming for you." Kale instantly shook his head. No. The force behind the word terrified her. The bond pulsed sharply. Fear flooded through him. Not for himself. For her. "The veil wants you here." Selena swallowed hard. "I do not care." Kale looked almost desperate now. "Selena, please." The plea shattered her. Because Kale never begged. Never. The creature suddenly attacked again. Kale barely blocked the claws with darkness. The impact dropped him hard to one knee. The chains tightened instantly around his throat. Selena felt the pain through the bond and nearly screamed. Then the creature whispered from the shadows. "The air opens the veil permanently." Silence crushed the chamber. Every keeper froze instantly. Ares slowly looked towards Selena in horror. And Kale's expression completely shattered. "No." Kale's voice echoed through the veil violently. Darkness exploded around him. The chains cracked beneath his rage. The creature behind him laughed softly. Ancient. Cruel. The child carries both worlds. Cold terror spread through the chamber. Selena instinctively pressed one hand against her stomach. The warmth beneath her ribs pulsed again. Alive. Powerful. Wrong. Kale saw the movement instantly. Pain crossed his face so sharply it nearly destroyed her. Because now he knew. Everything. The exhaustion. The sickness. The bond changing. Their child. Tears filled Kale's eyes immediately. Real tears. Selena stopped breathing seeing them. For one heartbreaking second, the war disappeared. The veil disappeared. Only them existed. Kale slowly stepped toward the gate, chains dragging behind him. His voice sounded completely broken now. "You are pregnant." Selena nodded shakily. Emotion crashed through the bond violently. Love, fear, wonder. Grief for everything he almost lost. Kale reached trembling fingers toward the veil barrier. Like he wanted to touch her. Wanted to touch them. A soft broken laugh escaped him. "I missed everything." The confession shattered Selena completely. "You came back." Kale looked at her like she was still the most beautiful thing he had ever seen. Even now. Even trapped between worlds. Then his eyes lowered toward her stomach again, and something inside him softened completely. The monster behind him roared violently. The veil cracked harder. But Kale never looked away from her. Or the child. And quietly, almost reverently, he whispered, "Our baby." The veil trembled violently around them. Black cracks spread across the gate. Ares struggled to hold the ritual together beside the burning symbols. "We are out of time." Nobody moved. Nobody could. Kale still stared at Selena, like the entire world narrowed to her. To them. His hand remained pressed against the veil barrier, separated from her by only darkness and fate. Selena slowly lifted her hand too, matching his through the gate. The bond pulsed warmly between them. For one perfect second, it almost felt normal again. Kale's expression softened completely. Gods, she missed him. Missed this. The creature behind him moved closer through the shadows. Waiting. Watching. Kale noticed immediately. His entire body tensed again. Protective instinct returning instantly. Even trapped inside the veil, he still moved slightly in front of Selena, like he could shield her through worlds. The gesture nearly destroyed her. Cashin quietly muttered beside the ritual, "I need both of you to survive for my emotional stability." The veil cracked louder. The creature suddenly lunged toward Kale again. This time Kale ripped fully free from the remaining chains. Darkness exploded through the ruined veil. The monster roared violently. Kale attacked it instantly. Blood sprayed across Blackstone. Selena felt every piece of his pain through the bond again. Too much pain. Too much darkness. The veil began collapsing faster now. Ares looked horrified. "The gate is breaking." Kale heard him instantly. And Selena saw the realization hit his face. If the veil collapsed now, he stayed trapped forever. The creature slammed Kale violently against ruined stone again. The entire chamber shook. Selena screamed his name. Kale slowly lifted his head through blood and darkness, then looked directly at her. And for the first time since she found him, he smiled. The smile nearly broke her completely, because it looked peaceful, like Kale already made another impossible decision. No. Selena stepped toward the veil instantly. Silver fire erupted around her body violently. The keepers backed away in fear. Kale slowly pushed himself upright inside the collapsing veil. Blood covered him completely now. Darkness crawled beneath his skin like living shadows. But his eyes never left Selena. The monster behind him roared again. Ancient claws tearing through black stone. The veil cracked wider. Ares shouted over the chaos. "The gate is collapsing." Kale looked toward the creature briefly, then back at Selena. The bond pulsed painfully between them. Love, fear, goodbye again. Selena felt it instantly. No. Her voice shattered completely this time. Kale stepped closer to the barrier slowly, like he wanted one final moment before everything ended. His trembling hand touched the veil where hers rested, separated only by fading magic. Selena pressed harder against the barrier desperately. "Come back to me." Pain flashed across Kale's face instantly. Gods, he wanted to. More than anything. The darkness around him twisted violently. Hungry. Possessive. Trying to pull him deeper into the veil. Kale fought it with every piece of himself left. Then softly whispered, "I am trying." The honesty destroyed her. The creature attacked again. Kale turned instantly. Shadows exploded from him like a storm. The impact shattered half the veil chamber. Ares fell beside the ritual circle, blood spreading across the ancient symbols. The gate is failing. The barrier between worlds flickered dangerously. Kale looked towards Selena one final time. Fear hit his face suddenly. Real fear. Because the veil was not only collapsing around him anymore, it was collapsing around her too. And then the floor beneath Selena cracked open. Selena screamed as the ground collapsed beneath her. Stone shattered apart violently. The veil chamber tilted sideways. Cashin grabbed for her instantly. Too late. Kale moved before thought. Darkness exploded through the collapsing gate. He reached through the veil barrier itself. The second his hand caught Selena's wrist, the entire world shattered. Silver fire and darkness collided violently. The bond erupted brighter than ever before. Every keeper fell backward from the force. The veil screamed. Kale pulled Selena against him desperately. Half inside the veil, half outside. Reality itself tearing around them. Pain exploded through Selena's body instantly. Too much power. Too much magic. Kale wrapped one arm tightly around her waist, protecting her even now. Always. The creature behind him roared furiously, ancient claws slamming toward them both. Cashin shouted something from far away. Selena barely heard it. The bond drowned everything else. Kale's face stayed inches from hers now. Blood, darkness, tears in his eyes again. The sight shattered her completely. Hold on to me. His voice sounded desperate. Not commanding. Begging. Selena grabbed him instantly. The child reacted violently beneath her ribs. Warm light burst through the bond. The veil cracked wider. Ares looked horrified. The air is stabilizing the gate. Silence followed. Even the monster paused. Kale looked down toward Selena's stomach in shock. Then realization hit him instantly. The child. Their child. Connected both worlds. The veil suddenly stopped collapsing. Everything froze for one impossible second. Then the creature behind Kale smiled slowly and whispered, "Now the gate can never fully close." Cold silence filled the veiled chamber. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Now the gate can never fully close. The creature's words echoed through the ruins heavily. Selena felt fear twist through her chest instantly. Kale held her tighter against him. Protective instinct taking over immediately. The bond between them pulsed wildly now. Their child connected both worlds. Ares slowly stepped backward from the ritual circle. Horror visible across his face. The prophecy was true. Cashin looked exhausted beyond reason. I officially hate prophecies. The creature behind Kale stepped closer through the shadows. Silver eyes fixed directly on Selena's stomach. Hungry. Ancient. Wrong. Kale instantly moved fully in front of her. Darkness exploded around him violently. No. The single word shook the chamber. The creature smiled slowly. The air belongs to the veil. Rage slammed through Kale instantly. The shadows around him turned monstrous again. Selena felt the darkness trying to consume him through the bond. Too much rage. Too much fear. She grabbed his arm quickly. Kale. The second she touched him, the darkness calmed slightly. Only for her. Always only for her. Kale turned toward her immediately. His breathing uneven. Pain and terror living openly inside his eyes now. Because now he understood too. The veil would never stop hunting her. Or their child. Selena gently touched his face. We survived this together. The words almost broke him. Kale closed his eyes briefly against her hand, then pressed one desperate kiss into her palm. The tenderness hurt worse than battle. Behind him, the creature suddenly roared violently. The veil began shaking again. Ares looked toward the failing ritual circle in panic. The gate is destabilizing again. Kale immediately looked toward Selena, fear crossing his face instantly. Because this time, the veil was trying to pull her inside with him. The pull hit Selena suddenly. Violent. Invisible force dragged her toward the veil. Kale caught her instantly, one arm wrapping tightly around her waist. Shadows exploded around both of them. The veil wanted her. Wanted the child. Ancient whispers flooded the chamber again. Queen. Mother. Heir. Selena pressed against Kale desperately. The force kept pulling harder. Cashin grabbed one of the broken pillars nearby. This is getting dramatically worse. Ares struggled beside the ritual symbols. Blood covered his hands now. The gate recognizes her bloodline. The creature behind Kale smiled slowly through the darkness. She belongs beyond the veil. Kale looked ready to tear reality apart hearing that. No. Darkness erupted from him violently. The entire chamber shook. The pull around Selena weakened instantly beneath his power. But Kale staggered hard afterward. The veil was draining him. Selena caught his face quickly. You cannot keep doing this. Kale's hands tightened around her desperately. I will do anything. Pain shattered through her chest instantly. Because he meant every word. Always. The bond pulsed harder suddenly. Warmth spread beneath Selena's ribs again. The child reacted to Kale's voice. To his touch. Kale felt it instantly too. His expression cracked completely. Wonder flashing through grief and terror. For one impossible second, everything softened. The war. The veil. The monster. Only them existed again. Kale slowly rested one trembling hand against her stomach. Tears filled his eyes immediately. The sight nearly destroyed Selena. Then the veil screamed violently. Black cracks spread across the chamber walls. The creature roared furiously behind them. And Ares shouted in horror. The gate is opening fully. The veil exploded open. Darkness flooded the chamber violently. Ancient screams echoed through the ruins. Keepers were thrown backward across broken stone. The creature behind Kale stepped fully from the shadows at last. Massive. Terrifying. Silver eyes glowing like dying stars. Selena felt the child react sharply beneath her ribs. Warmth pulsed painfully through her body. The creature smiled, instantly sensing it. The air awakens. Kale moved in front of Selena. So fast the shadows barely kept up. Pure protective instinct. Pure rage. No one touches them. The creature laughed softly. You were always hers. The words hit strangely. Like old memories hidden beneath the blood moon. Kale's shadows twisted violently around the chamber. The darkness inside him was no longer hiding now. It moved like a living storm. Hungry. Ancient. The same way Selena's silver fire changed after the throne. Cashin slowly looked between both of them. You two are becoming terrifying together. Nobody answered him. The veil cracked wider behind the creature. More shadows moved beyond it now. Waiting to enter the world. Ares looked horrified. If the gate stays open, everything dies. Silence hit the chamber instantly. Everything. Kingdoms. People. The world itself. The creature stepped closer slowly. Then looked directly at Selena. Choose. Cold fear spread through her chest. The creature lifted one massive claw toward Kale. He stays with you. Then the claw slowly pointed toward the open veil. Or the world survive. The chamber went completely silent. Because suddenly, the blood moon demanded its final sacrifice. No. Kale answered before Selena could breathe. Darkness exploded around him violently. The veil trembled beneath his rage. The creature only watched calmly. Ancient. Patient. Like it already knew how this story always ended. Selena felt terror crash through the bond. Because Kale already chose. Her. Always her. Even over the world. The realization shattered her instantly. The creature slowly looked toward Selena again. The Shadow King would burn kingdoms for you. Cashin quietly muttered nearby. That part was already obvious. Nobody heard him. Kale stepped closer to the creature. Shadows moving like living monsters around his body now. I said no. The creature tilted its head slightly. And when the veil consumes the child, silence. Kale froze instantly. The chamber suddenly felt colder. The creature's silver eyes shifted toward Selena's stomach. The air belongs to both realms now. Fear spread through Selena violently. Because deep down, she felt the truth in those words. The child pulsed warmly beneath her ribs again. Connected to the veil, connected to the blood moon. Kale slowly looked back towards Selena. Pain crossed his face instantly. Real pain. Because for the first time, he did not know how to save her. Selena stepped toward him carefully, tears burning her eyes again. We cannot let the world die. Kale's expression shattered hearing that. No, the answer came broken this time. Desperate. Selena gently touched his face, the same way she always did when he was falling apart. We were never meant to survive easily. Kale grabbed her wrist instantly, like he physically could not let her speak this way. I am not losing you. The raw fear in his voice nearly destroyed her. Then the child suddenly pulsed brighter than before. Silver light exploded through the veil chamber, and every shadow in the room froze. The silver light spread through the chamber softly. Not violent. Not cruel. Warm. Alive. Every shadow around the veil became still. Even the creature stopped moving. Selena gasped quietly. The warmth beneath her ribs pulsed again. Their child. Kale stared at her in shock, then slowly lowered one trembling hand against her stomach again. The second he touched her, the silver light grew brighter. The bond between them surged powerfully. Love, life, hope. The veil itself reacted. The darkness pulling at Selena weakened instantly. Ares looked stunned beside the ritual circle. The air is not feeding the veil. Cashin blinked slowly. That feels important. The creature's expression finally changed. Not amusement. Fear. Real fear. Kale noticed immediately. His shadows sharpened around the chamber. Dangerous again. What are you afraid of? The creature slowly stepped backward from the light. Impossible silence filled the ruins. Then it quietly answered. The child carries both shadow and light. Cold realization spread through Selena instantly. Not destruction. Balance. The blood moon never wanted endless darkness. It wanted both of them together. Kale understood too. She saw it in his eyes instantly. The same realization. The same impossible hope. The creature roared violently. The veil cracked harder around it. Because the prophecy was breaking. The child was never meant to destroy worlds. The child could close the veil forever. Ares looked towards Selena in disbelief. The air can end the blood moon. Silence crushed the chamber. Kale immediately looked terrified again. Because now he understood the cost. The veil, the prophecy, the final sacrifice. Everything suddenly pointed toward one terrible truth. And Selena saw it hit him instantly. The child might survive, but she might not. No. Kale's voice broke completely. The bond exploded with panic instantly. He understood. Selena understood too. The child could seal the veil, but the power required might destroy her. Kale grabbed her face desperately. Dark eyes filled with terror now. Real terror. Not of monsters. Not of war. Of losing her. Again. We find another way. Selena wanted to believe him. Gods. She wanted to. But deep down, the blood moon already chose its ending. Kale felt the acceptance inside her instantly. And shattered. His shadows exploded violently across the chamber. The veil trembled beneath his rage. No. This time the word sounded broken. Desperate. The creature watched everything silently now. Almost afraid. Because love itself was disrupting the prophecy. Selena touched Kale's shaking hands carefully. You once told me you would destroy worlds for me. I still will. The answer came instantly. Without hesitation. Tears filled Selena's eyes. She smiled weakly through them. I know. The tenderness in her voice nearly destroyed him. Kale rested his forehead against hers. Breathing unevenly now. The bond hurt between them. Too emotional. Too alive. I just got you back. The confession shattered her completely. Selena wrapped both arms around him tightly. Cale held her like he was drowning. Like letting go would kill him. Maybe it would. The child pulsed warmly again between them. Soft light spreading through the chamber. Alive, hopeful. The opposite of the veil. Cashin quietly limped away nearby. Because even he could not watch this without breaking. Then Ares suddenly shouted, "The gate is collapsing again." The veil cracked violently behind them. The creature roared in fury. And the entire kingdom began to shake. Stone rained from the chamber ceiling. The veil screamed violently behind them. Black cracks spread through reality itself. The creature lunged forward in fury. Cale moved instantly. Darkness exploded across the ruins. The impact shook the entire kingdom. Selena stumbled backward hard. Cashin caught her before she fell. "Please tell me this is almost over." Nobody answered. Cale fought like something ancient now. Shadows tearing through the veil violently. The creature roared against him. Silver claws crashing into darkness. Every strike echoed through the bond painfully. Selena felt every injury. Every ounce of exhaustion. Cale was already dying again. Ares struggled beside the failing ritual. "We cannot hold the gate much longer." The child pulsed sharply beneath Selena's ribs. Warm light spread across her skin again. The veil reacted instantly. The cracks slowed. The darkness weakened. The creature noticed too. Fear flashed through its silver eyes. Selena suddenly understood. The blood moon could not survive balance. Not shadow alone. Not light alone. Both together. Her, Cale, their child. The realization hit Cale through the bond instantly. He turned toward her sharply. And Selena saw the answer in his eyes. Not sacrifice. Union. The prophecy was wrong. They were never meant to die separately. The veil only closed if all three bonds joined willingly. Cale understood too. Hope crashed through the bond for the first time in forever. Then the creature roared in panic. No. Silver fire erupted through Selena's body violently. Cale's shadows surged toward her at the same time. Darkness and light collided around them. The bond between them exploded brighter than the blood moon itself. The entire chamber disappeared beneath light and darkness. Silver fire wrapped around Cale's shadows perfectly. Not fighting. Balancing. The veil screamed violently. The creature staggered backward in horror. No. Selena felt Cale reach for her through the storm instantly. Their hands locked together. The second they touched, the child pulsed warmly between them. Alive. Safe. The bond connected fully for the first time. Not only soulmates. Family. The power shattered through the veil chamber. Every shadow froze. Every silver flame bowed around them. Cale stared at Selena like she was a miracle. Tears filled his eyes again. Gods, she loved him so much. The creature lunged toward them desperately. Cale moved first. Shadows exploded around the monster violently. Selena's silver fire followed instantly beside him. Perfect together. The creature screamed as light and darkness tore through its body. The veil itself began collapsing inward. Ares shouted over the chaos. "It is working." The ancient gate cracked apart violently. The blood moon above the kingdom shattered across the sky outside. Silver light rained through the chamber. The curse was breaking. Finally breaking. Cale grabbed Selena against him tightly as the veil collapsed around them. Protective even now. Always. The creature gave one final roar before disappearing into darkness forever. Then silence hit the chamber. Real silence. No whispers. No blood moon. Only Cale's heartbeat against Selena's chest. Alive. Morning sunlight touched the first kingdom for the first time in centuries. Real sunlight. Warm, golden. The blood moon was gone. The veiled chamber stood silent beneath the kingdom ruins. No shadows moved unnaturally anymore. No whispers haunted the air. Only peace. Selena stood outside the palace balcony wrapped in Kale's arms. The world below slowly breathed again. People filled the streets carefully. Alive, free, Kale buried his face softly against her hair, still holding her like he feared she might disappear. Some habits would never leave him. Selena smiled faintly. You can let go now. Kale tightened his arms immediately. No. The answer made her laugh softly. Gods, she missed hearing him like this. Warm, alive, not broken by war. Kale slowly moved one hand against her stomach carefully. Reverently. Wonder still crossed his face every time. Our child saved the world. Selena leaned back against his chest happily. Our child had dramatic parents. Kale actually laughed. Real laugh. Soft and beautiful. The sound healed something inside her completely. Footsteps echoed behind them. Cashin appeared carrying 2 cups again, then immediately stopped walking. You two look disgustingly happy. Neither cared. Kale pressed a kiss against Selena's temple gently. The sunlight painted gold across his dark hair. Peace looked beautiful on him. Selena turned slowly in his arms. Dark eyes instantly softened meeting hers. Always. Every lifetime. Kale rested his forehead against hers quietly, then whispered the words that once haunted her. Only now they sounded different. Warm, safe, final. Welcome home.